to Jim Northrup. The 7-batter catcher, Gene Lamont. Eddie Brinkman bats 8. Plays shortstop, the pitcher, Les Kane. The Orioles, who come to the plate in the following order: Buford leading off, left field. Blair batting number 2 in center field. Rettenmund batting 3, right field. Batting number 4, first baseman, Frank Robinson. Batting 5, third baseman, Brooks Robinson. Batting 6, the second baseman, Dave Johnson. The number 7 hitter is Mark Belanger, the shortstop. The number 8 hitter will be catcher Andy Etchebarren. And the pitcher will be Pat Dobson. The umpires here tonight at the home plate will be Ron Luciano at first base, John Red Flaherty at second base, John Rice, and at third base, it is Bill Kunkel. Well, we're all ready to go. It's Hanover night tonight, and a lot of Hanover baseball fans are in this ballpark, and many others too, I might add. With a fine crowd building, the Orioles now have hit their longest losing streak of the year, 4 straight defeats. And Dobson is out there to see if he can't stop it. And we'll turn things over right now to Bill O'Donnell.
All right, thank you, Chuck. And hello again, everybody. Here's a breaking ball. Dobson's first pitch is inside, ball 1. McAuliffe, Rodriguez, and Gates Brown. Those will be the first 3 Tiger batters now as we start the regular game tonight after the completion of last night's suspended contest. A foul sent right back here to the screen. McAuliffe only batted once during the suspended game when it was completed a couple of minutes ago, and he drew a walk. On the year, he's batting .199, 9 homers and 31 runs batted in. McAuliffe with that wide-open stance down the first base side. Dobson winding, he kicks and throws McAuliffe 1-1. He breaks it downstairs inside, 2 balls and 1 strike. Dobson has won 6. He has dropped 4. He's been real sharp of late, winning 4 of his last 5 outings and 3 in a row. His 2-1 pitch buzzed into McAuliffe. Strike, inside corner. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Ron Luciano, a big fella, he's calling balls and strikes back of Etchebarren. With veteran John Red Flaherty at first, John Rice at second, and Bill Kunkel is the ump at third. Two now to McAuliffe. Swinging in a foul tip squeezed by Etchebarren. So Dobson gets a strikeout to start the ball game. 1 gone. McAuliffe back to the Tiger dugout, and here is Aurelio Rodriguez, the senior from Mexico who played third base last night as well as a couple of minutes tonight when we completed the suspended game. He went 1 for 7 in that contest. He has 7 homers, 20 runs batted in. With Dobson the bird in field, Brooks the third, Belanger short, Johnson second, Frank Robinson is the first baseman. Fastball is a Dobson strike dealt high to Rodriguez. 1 strike to Aurelio. He's a right-hand batter. And big, robust Gates Brown is on deck. The winding Dobson coming in, 0-1. Curve, bounce to short and through the hole, out to left field. Rodriguez pokes a base hit to left. Oh, here's Gates, primarily a premier pinch hitter, and he's held that stature now for many years. Just a couple of weeks ago, this big fella, Gates Brown, broke a record, an American League record, for pinch hits, and that was set by a former Tiger of many years ago. Curve, slap to the second baseman, Johnson. He short hops it, loses it, recovers, throws, and not in time. Flaherty has called Gates Brown safe. Johnson surrounding Flaherty from one side and Frank Robinson from the other. And Gates Brown pulled up lame after crossing the bag. It was a chopper right to Johnson. He short hopped it, lost the short hop. It bounced to one side. He recovered, made a quick flip, wrist toss to first baseman Frank Robinson. Flaherty called Gates Brown safe as Rodriguez advanced to second. And then Johnson came from one side, Frank Robinson the other, and Flaherty was right in the middle. Andy Etchebarren has also romped down the first base foul line to talk to Flaherty. And Gates Brown is being assisted from the field. Now, Brown must have pulled something in his leg or in the knee because he hit the bag and then he went, maybe 5 strides beyond the bag, pulled up lame and had to kneel down. Tigers, I believe, will run Dalton Jones for Gates Brown. It is Dalton Jones. On the ground ball by Gates Brown, Charles Johnson, the second baseman, with a fielding error. The Tigers now, with a quick start to begin the regular ball game, have runners at second and first. They've got Jones running to Brown with Rodriguez at second, and they'll bat Big Willie Horton. Frank Robinson, as Horton steps in and Dobson begins to make contact with the rubber. Frank Robinson is still glaring over to the first base foul line, and he was looking right at first base umpire Flaherty. Rodriguez at second, Jones running for Brown at first base. And Horton, the batter, had 2 hits in the regular game. There's a ground ball to the shortstop, Alanzi. Tough chance for 2. Goes to second. 1 out there, and no throw to first base. The ball was hit between third and second. Belanger fielded it about 3 steps back of the grass, and then cut his toss loose to Johnson to get Jones for the fourth play. Rodriguez goes to third. Horton is safe at first base. Here's Cash. Cash batting with 16 home runs and 39 runs batted in. And he's got a high average of 287. Cash has had the best first half, perhaps, of any of his major league seasons. Runners at the corners and 2 gone on the Tiger first inning and no score. Dobson to Cash. He throws him low for a ball. In this inning, McCall is fanned. Rodriguez had a base hit to left. Brown was safe on the air by second baseman Johnson on a tight call at first base by the umpire Flaherty. And then Brown hurt himself. Jones ran. Horton bounced into a fielder's choice, short to second. Cash is 1 ball, no strike against Dobson. Here's a curve and a Dobson strike to the left-hand batter. A ball plus a strike. Cash normally, during his major league career, more often than not, has had an outstanding second half from the standpoint of power. But he's put together a good first half here in 1971. Strong left-handed waiver against the right arm of Dobson. A curve is a little too low. 2 balls and 1 strike. He completed the suspended game just about 30 minutes ago. And the Tigers won that 9-4. Short lead by Horton off first base. Rodriguez stepping off the bag, coming down the foul side of third. Cash 2-1. Inside, backs him off, 3 balls and 1 strike. Well, Mr. Dobson has picked off 3 straight wins, and they've been at the expense of the Yankees, the Senators, and the Red Sox. 3-1 to Cash. High, ball 4. The Tigers have them loaded up against Dobson. 3 runners aboard, nobody out, and Northrop will be the batter. Before this series began, I tell you, it was almost Northrop against the Orioles more than the Tigers against the Orioles, because Northrop produced 12 base hits and 24 trips before this series began. He's a mean left-hand batter, and deep to the box. He fouls off the first pitch, and it's over the Oriole dugout. Now, by mean, we don't mean personality-wise. By mean, we mean mean with that fact. Among his 12 base hits, he has produced 2 homers against the Bird staff and 13 runs batted in. Against the league, he has 31 RBIs. The 1 striker from Dobson is outside the Northrop, 1 ball and 1 strike. Cash at first, Horton at second, Rodriguez at third, and 2 men out. Dobson pushed into a corner. He's in a first-inning jam with the bases loaded. 1-1 to Northrop. Inside with a breaking ball at the knees. 2 balls and 1 strike. Dobson has had, without exaggeration, outstanding control as he picked off those 3 straight wins against the Yankees, Washington, and the Red Sox. A little control problem now in the first inning against the Tigers. 2-1. Here's a foul straight back to the press area. It's Northrop 2-2 against Dobson. center and right, Blair and Rettenmund are playing this left-hand batter to pull. Bases loaded, full windup by Dobson with 2 out, 2-2 delivery. Is way outside low. 3 balls and 2 strikes. So the Tigers have an action play now available to them. When Dobson starts throwing to Northrup 3 balls and 2 strikes, Rodriguez can move from third, Horton can move from second, and start to romp and choke and Cash at first base. Frank Robinson is back deep on the right side. So Cash will have the extra edge even before he starts to run. 3-2 to Northrup. Dobson is stretching right above the belt. Kicks and deals Northrup. Here's a ground ball to the second baseman. Johnson's there. Throws to first, and Dobson pulls out of a jam, retiring Northrup on a ground ball second to third. In the middle of the first inning, it's the Tigers nothing, and the Orioles are coming to bed.
For every problem, there's a solution. If you have a headache, there's aspirin.
Well, due to the unfortunate injury to Gates Brown, manager Billy Martin has been forced to make a couple of changes. Dalton Jones goes into right field. Dalton Jones goes to right field. Willie Horton goes over into left field. So now the Tiger outfield is Horton in left, Northrup in the middle in center field, and Dalton Jones is now the new right fielder. And for the Orioles, it'll be Don Buford coming on for his first plate appearance here in this Tiger series against the southpaw left Kane, and we'll get right back to Bill.
Well, Kane, who could not actually start the regular season because he came up with shoulder problems during spring training, since coming back on Billy Martin's active list, he's been very successful. He has 5 wins, only 1 defeat. And his earned run average is less than a run and a half a ball game. And it'll be Les Kane against John Buford, Paul Blair, and Merv Rettenmund. Buford batting at .312, takes outside from the southpaw Kane. Rodriguez third, Brinkman short. McCall at second, Cash at first, Lamont back of the plate, masterminding the pitches of Kane. Right over the head of the ducking Buford. That was a fastball that just sailed in and way over Buford's head. 2 balls and no strikes. Kane nodding okay, kicks and deals. He's low to Buford, 3 balls and no strikes. In previous Tiger games, Buford's been very successful against Detroit pitching. 11 hits and 19 trips. He shows 11 homers, 34 runs batted in. He's way ahead of Kane, 3-0. He's going to be followed by Blair here in the first inning. Low ball 4 pitches, and there's Buford, as he's done so many times, leading off an Oriole attack, going to first base on a walk by Kane. Here's Paul Blair, 2 for 6 in the first game of the series. 5 homers, 23 RBIs, with Rettenmund making his way to the on-deck area. This is a very quick 2-game homestand. The Birds go on the road tomorrow. They've got a doubleheader in Cleveland, a single game the next night. The pitch to Paul, drives me high. No balls, 1 strike. Cash bird dogging at first base against the Buford lead. The outfield of Horton, Northrup, Jones is straight away to Blair. They give him power alley. 0-1 by Kane is high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Kane is not too big a fellow, but he has an extremely high front leg lift. Blair waiting on the stretching Kane's 1-1. Here it is. It's a foul ball headed towards the Tiger dugout. Lamont chasing, Cash chasing, and behind the dugout out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes to the cutting Blair. There's Buford at first base, nobody out. Kane has moved ahead of Blair at 1-2. There's a slow, easy toss to first base, and Cash has to leap up and bring it down. There is no velocity whatsoever to the move by Kane to first base. Now, we talked about shoulder problems that Kane had during spring training that prevented him from starting the season on the active list. He has had some stiffness in the pitching shoulder since coming back on the active list. 1-2. He's outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Tigers, by winning now the first game of the series, have naturally moved 1 notch closer to the Birds. They're now 4 games back, as are the Red Sox, 4 games back. Blair, 2-2. Checks his swing, and a foul. Is it a foul tip? It is a foul tip, and it's caught by Lamont. He checked his swing. Luciano then went up with the right hand, killed the foul tip call. The reason that Luciano waited, he checked with first base umpire Flaherty. Then when Flaherty gave him the call, then Luciano called out Blair. So 1 away, and the batter is Rettenmund, batting in .291. Buford with a leadoff walk, still aboard with 1 away. Slider low and tight, ball 1 to the right-hand swinging Rettenmund. Kane another easy toss to first base. Now, among others, one of the reasons that Luciano might have checked with Flaherty, he was screened, of course, by Lamont on the foul tip. He wanted to make sure it did not hit the dirt, first of all. Another lob throw to first base, and Buford's back there. Well, the battle right now is not between Kane and Rettenmund. The duel is between Kane and the base runner, Buford. Sweeping stretch right down under the belt. Inside the nerve to make it 2 balls and no strikes. Here's Kane now motioning out Lamont. They want to discuss something. And while they do talk things over, we can chat a bit about the road trip coming up. 2 games tomorrow in Cleveland. We'll be on with you at 5:25. Then a single game the next night. Then it's on to meet the Tigers again. 4 straight single games between Friday and Monday. A Friday night single game, and then single affairs Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon, and Monday afternoon before coming back home again. Nerves ahead of Kane, working slowly 2-0. He's further behind with a low pitch inside. 3 balls and no strikes. Well, we had an outstanding turnout here for a Monday night last evening, better than 17,000. And a pretty good turnout again tonight, watching Kane go 3-0. That's ball 4. So 2 runners on in the first inning, and both as the result of Kane losing his effectiveness and not getting the strike zone. Buford to second, Rettenmund to first, and the batter is Frank Robinson playing first base in this game. Frank 1 for 5 in the first game of the series, has 10 homers, 46 runs batted in. Buford is halfway home. There he is leading off second. Rettenmund not held by Cash, playing wide and back deep off the line. Rettenmund with an extra good edge at first base. 1 man out. Frank Robinson hits a foul to the screen. Frank batting with 2 aboard, 1 out with Brooks on deck. .23-year-older, Les Kane, coming 0-1 to Frank. He goes way upstairs, 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, Bob Brown has just given us the report on why Gates Brown had to be pulled out of the ballgame after being safe on a Johnson area when he hit the bag and then fell down. He has pulled a hamstring muscle. 1-1 to Frank Robinson. Way high, gets by the catcher Lamont. The runners are advancing. That was high and a little bit inside, and out comes Billy Martin to talk things over with Kane. He's just had a lot of trouble with control here in the first inning, and undoubtedly that will be scored as a wild pitch. Buford has advanced to third on a wild toss by Kane, and Rettenmund to second. Now, while Martin has a conversation going on at the mound between Lamont and Kane, we've got an opportunity to tell you something about Frank Robinson that you might appreciate. We were out here early today talking about the Frank Robinson and fellows against whom he's played down through the years, and we mentioned a lot of names. We mentioned old names from the National League like Henry Aaron and Orlando Cepeda, Felix Neon, among others. They're all with Atlanta. And we're asking Frank his opinion, positive types of opinions about not just three-ball players, we'd say about 30. And just one after the other, Frank Robinson picks off, deficiencies and pluses about every phase of every one of these fellows' participation in baseball. 2-1. Fly ball, shallow right. Back goes McAuliffe. On comes Dalton Jones, the right fielder. It's caught by McAuliffe. Buford tagging, bluffing, running home. The throw home is right to Cash, who is cutting it off near the plate. So Frank Robinson has been retired on a high fly to shallow right. McAuliffe has made the second out. The batter now will be Brooks Robinson. And we'll pause for station identification. This is the Baltimore Oriole Baseball Network.
This is Jay Jason, and if you're a sports fan, John Stedman's Sports Wire was designed for you. Mornings at 7:15 on Radio 11 WBAL Baltimore.
Here's Brooks Robinson, who provided one of the thrilling highlights of the season when he had that ninth inning 3-run homer last night to tie the ball game at 4-4 and tie it against the Chuck Loaders. In that first game, Brooks 1 for 6. The fastball is tight and low, ball one. Brooks' average as the result of the first game finished tonight after the suspension last night is 285. 8 homers, 45 runs batted in. 2 on. They're both in scoring spots. Reckonund at second and Buford at third. And 2 men out on the 1-0. Brooks hits a ground ball to the shortstop Brinkman. Makes a long heave to first baseman Cash in time to retire Brooks on the side. 1 inning is over with a score. The Orioles nothing and the Tigers nothing.
Well, don't forget to get your copy of The Home Team, the long and often happy story of baseball in Baltimore. It's now available in paperback. The Home Team is priced at just $3, and with each purchase, you'll receive free a copy of the Orioles Fine Official 1971 Yearbook. Now, to order, all you have to do is send $3 to Home Team, Memorial Stadium, Baltimore 21218. Checks and money orders should be made payable to the Baltimore Orioles.
Here's Gene Lamont now, the left-hand batting Tiger catcher. He'll be followed by Brinkman and Kane. Lamont, a left-hand batter, deep to the box. Outside, ball one. 1-0 to Lamont, batting at 100. He's 1 for 10. He checks his swing, and here's Luciano checking on the call by first base umpire Flaherty, and Flaherty says he did check it in time. 2 balls in this strike. Lamont, Brinkman, and Kane, top of the second inning. Dobson against Kane, and no score. High, 3-0. Now, just like Kane had control problems in the bottom of the first inning, the Dobber also had his control difficulties in the top of the first inning, but he pulled out of that jam. 3-0 to Lamont. He's on the take, and a strike was called. A little bit unusual to see a catcher who wears glasses. Lamont does that both at the plate when he has the bat in the hands and also, of course, when he has the mask on. The 3-1 to Lamont. He swings and misses to make it 3-2. And I'm sure all you great Oriole fans remember great Oriole catcher some years ago who had the same situation, namely Clint Courtney. Three and 2 on the way by Dobson. Ground ball wide of first base, fielded near the outfield grass by Johnson, and his cross in time to Frank Robinson. They get Lamont. 1 gone in the Tigers' second, and okay, Eddie Brinkman the batter. I would guess that if during his managerial years at Washington, Fred Williams is most proud of, say, just one thing that he helped develop. I guess it would be how much he helped Eddie Brinkman develop. A curve is a strike to the right-hand batting Brinkman. Now, Brinkman under Williams had some good batting averages, but since the winter trade here over to Detroit, he's down real low in the 200s at 203. 1 down to 1 strike, Dobson pitch. Curved line to the left field foul line. Fair ball. It rolls to the corner. Brinkman's heading for two. Buford throwing back to second base, and Brinkman pulls him standing with his ninth double of the year. He pulled it right on top of that left field foul line, and it bounced there, then hopped off the wall. Brinkman with one gone, standing in second, and the batter will be the Tiger pitcher, Les Payne. Here's Luciano now doing the checkup job on that ball that has been kept in play, and he flipped it to Dobson, but Dobson didn't like it, and Dobson has requested a new one from Luciano.
Chuck? Watching Luciano, I think I've mentioned this before, not everybody has too many kind things to say about umpires, but we all know and respect the job that they do. This young man, Luciano, I've never seen him walk. Every time he moves, he's running. He hustles. He's an aggressive umpire in the ball game, and a pleasure to watch him work.
The lead at second base by Brinkman with one out. A fastball, fanned at and missed. But Chuck, this gentleman, I don't believe is listening to this ball game tonight, but the words that you just echoed about Ron Luciano, I'm sure that one fellow among others would be most proud to hear you say that. And that's one of the great college football coaches of all time, Ben Schwartzwalder, who was Luciano's head coach at Syracuse. The one-strike pitch is hit high and deep to right center field. Flair going way back. He's there. And in front of the warning track by a couple of strides, makes the put out. No change for pitcher, swung that bat pretty well, and he got a lot of wood on it. Speaking of, as Chuck did about Luciano, Chuck, he didn't just play one way when he played college football. He played both ways, offensively and defensively. He was a tackle. The leadoff man, scrappy Dick McAuliffe, he was struck out by Dobson in the first inning. Brinkman, who had the one-out two-bagger, still leading at second, but now with two men out. Dobson into McAuliffe. There's a foul ball screaming into the upper deck out in right field. McAuliffe was out in front and pulled it high. Yes, Jeff?
Well, there was one other point, speaking of this young umpire, Ron Luciano. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he holds a master's degree in mathematics. That's correct? He's done a lot of things.
The Lions are not too far away from that Brinkman lead at second base, so Brinkman can't get too long an edge. The look back by Dobson, the pitch into McAuliffe. It's outside. One ball and one strike. You know, laudatory remarks about Luciano from Chuck and myself. One thing about Luciano, no matter where he is on the field, if there's any questionable situation, he is very emphatic about what the call is. The 1-1 delivery is outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. No score, top of the second inning. Well, the fans out there getting on Ron. He says, saying, Luciano go home. If he does go home, he's got a long walk. The 2-1 pitch. Swung out and missed. 2-2. Well, that's part of the ball game, and people enjoy it, and they're entitled to do it. That's what they come in to enjoy, and they should do just as they do. 2-2 now to McAuliffe with that big open stand. He hits a foul straight back to the upper deck. Well, we're very proud to have in our ballpark tonight from friendly Cambridge, Maryland, Mayor Pritchard and his city council. So welcome to the ballpark, Mayor Pritchard, and everybody from Cambridge, Maryland. McAuliffe hanging tough, as is Dobson, 2-2. Off the set, here it comes. Outside, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Also, at our fine ballpark in Baltimore tonight, we have the Kiwanis Club from Salisbury, Maryland. And quite a turnout from Mount Airy, Maryland. 80 fans here from the United Methodist Church. Full count to McAuliffe with a runner at second and 2 gone. The 3-2 by Dobson. Ground ball headed to second baseman Johnson. Goes down to 1 knee. Comes up with it. He throws out McAuliffe. And that's the top of the second inning. No Tiger runs. A Tiger hit and 1 left. In the middle of the second, Orioles nothing, Detroit nothing.
Well, the O's and the Tigers are rolling along here in our regulation game, and to the benefit of some of you who may have just tuned our way, the Tigers got 5 big runs in the 15th inning of the continuation of the curfewed or suspended game of last evening, and defeated the Orioles 9-4. Pete Richard was the losing pitcher, and Fred Sherman the winning pitcher. And the Birds are trying to get a little offense going here and try and break even in this 2-game set. All right, Bill.
And trying cut now with Johnson in the bottom of the second inning. A low fastball is inside to Johnson, who went hitless in that first game of the series. Davy J, 6 home runs, 33 runs batted in. Awaiting the left-handers 1-0. He hits a line shot to left. So there's Johnson now starting the Birds' second inning with a base hit. That's hit number 1 off Kane. You had the control difficulties last inning when he walked both Buford and Rettenman. Mark Belanger's up. He had his hitting streak snapped in the first game of the series. Well, whether a hitting streak or not has been stopped. There's just one thing you can say about Belanger's play so far in 1971. It's been of all-star caliber. Belanger takes a strike. He was not up there to bunt, at least on that first pitch. But here's Mark, glancing out to the signs to third base coach Hunter. I just wish he could have been with Chuck and me at Fenway Park to see the plays Belanger made it short against the Red Sox. The 0-1 was a high curve, 1 ball and 1 strike. I don't think there was any place between second and somewhere near and behind Dick Robinson at third. But Belanger did not make plays of ground balls against the Red Sox. 1-1. Inside almost hit Belanger knee high. 2 balls and 1 strike. I say Belanger's nickname, as applied to him by many of the Birds, is the Blade. But he was like a spider during the Red Sox era. A spider defensively. Kane 2-1 to Belanger. Check of a swing, and he checked it in time. 3 balls and 1 strike. Well, we've got, should I swing, should I take? That's the question in Belanger's mind, and Billy Hunter helps him make up his mind. Johnson, a leadoff base hit, being held by Cash at first base. Playing up a bit in right field against Belanger is Dalton Jones. Straight away, average depth in center is Northrop. James behind, 3-1. Here comes his hit. It's ball 4. 2 on, nobody out. A Johnson hit, a Belanger walk. 3 walks now by Kane. We're playing the bottom of the second inning. Andy Etchebarren striding to the plate. There's a little movement in the Tiger bullpen, so perhaps we're going to have some activity. Andy the batter with Johnson to follow. Andy will spread those feet wide. Go towards the front of the box and close his stance a bit. Johnson off second, plus Belanger off first. Etchebarren looks to the side, the inside corner. Johnson's lead not being disturbed by neither Brinkman, the shortstop, nor McCall at the second baseman. 0-1 coming to Andy off the set. Inside, almost got by Lamont. 1 ball and 1 strike. Don't forget now, we'll play 2 tomorrow night at Cleveland, and we hope you have your radios tuned in at 5:25, when the Birds will send out left-handers against the Indians. It'll be Cuellar and Jackson against Dunning and Hargan. And then Palmer on Thursday night against Sutton Fan against McDowell. It'll be a single game Thursday night. Etchebarren 1-1. It's outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Now, Kane, during these first 2 innings, to tell you, at least right now, how poor his control has been. He's been inside low, outside high, inside high. He's just been all over the plate and outside the plate. Lamont, trying to calm down Kane, has rushed to the mound to give them just a little bit of advice. 2 on, nobody out, and a good chance here to break on top in a scoreless ball game. Kane looking back, then he comes to Andy. Ball 3. 3 balls, 1 strike. Now John, if you'd do some of your own second guessing and some of your own managing at home. With 2 on, nobody out, in a scoreless ball game early, do you want Andy to swing or take? He swings, fly ball, deep left, headed for the bleachers. Hits in the bleachers for Andy Etchebarren. 3-run homer, 3-0. The Birds lead. Got a left chain 3-1 delivery right in his happy zone, and he sent it into left field bleacher area. And he's second homer, and he ups the RBI total to 9. Nutro is warming in the Tiger bullpen. The pitcher Dobson up. Swings and doesn't get changed, sinking fastball. Andy has 2 homers this year, both against the Tigers. Outside corner, strike to Dobson. The last Etchebarren homer, and that was only his first, was at Detroit in late April against Lolich. Outside low to Dobson. So his second of the year against the Tigers again, and also against the Detroit left-hander, left chain. It's a ball, 2 strikes to Dobson. In comes Shane. Here's a foul down the third base side. Dobson with the bat for the season at 139. Shane trying to get his first out here in the second, 1 and 2. It's strike 3 as Dobson trying to check his swing, committed himself. So give Shane his second strikeout. It's also the first out and a Bird second. And to the top of the order, Buford, who drew a walk to begin the bottom of the first inning. Right-hander Joe Nutro still loosening in the Tiger bullpen. Here's a fellow like Buford who is much in the same category of a Belanger. He's played outstanding ball, is not extremely high in the All-Star balloting. Way high by less than. But Buford, like a Belanger, a distinct possibility to be in Detroit as an early selection for the All-Star team. Buford batting .312, waiting 1-0. Hits a high pop-up to the right side. Second baseman McCullough trips to the outfield grass. He's there, and he makes the second out. 2 down, Buford has been retired. On the batter now is Paul Blair. Blair was fanned by Kane last inning. In the Washington Red Sox game at Boston, they're now playing the 4th inning, and the Red Sox are leading 6-0. That's Steve Perlberg against Jim Lombard. Red Sox 6, Washington nothing, 4th inning at Boston. The Red Sox at a 5-run second. Blair batting with 2 gone. He's curved high, ball 1. In that 5-run Red Sox second, John Kennedy of the Red Sox got a 2-run homer. The 1-0 to Blair. Ground ball right to third. Short hopped off the chest of Rodriguez. Recovers, throws in time to retire Blair. Send the Orioles ahead with 3 runs on the Etchebarren 3-run homer. The end of 2. It's the Birds 3. The Tigers nothing.
Mercury Cougar. Not just a...
Well, to review again scores of day games in the American League, it was the Yankees 9-2 over Cleveland. The winner was Klein, the loser Foster, and Yankees scored most of their runs in the first 3 innings, and 9 runs for the Yankees is more than they have scored in their last 5 outings. And also, the Chicago Cubs stopped the Dodgers, who were rolling along, something like 13 out of 18 games they had won, and the Cubs beat them today 3-2. Hands are the winner and one of the losers. Tonight, the Red Sox 6-0 over the Senators, as Bill just mentioned. That's a 3-inning score. Broberg against Lombard up there. And it's in the National League in Philadelphia tonight. The New York Mets 2. The Philadelphia Phillies nothing at the end of 4 innings. Seaver against Lurch. And that's about it for scores at the moment. Here in Baltimore, the Orioles 3, the Tigers nothing. Tigers coming on top of the third. Here's Bill.
With Aurelio Rodriguez, Dalton Jones, and Willie Horton. Dobson and the Birds right now, starting the top of the third, are leading 3-0. Here's a ground chopper wide of third, but Brooks is right there with that strong glove, and he throws out Rodriguez. One pitch, one out, and the Tigers third, and now Dalton Jones stepping in. When Gates Brown pulled up lame at first base after Johnson's error of his ground ball, and then he beat the throw, Brown left the ball game with a pulled hamstring. Jones became the base runner, and the left-hand swinging Jones went to the outfield. One away. Low to Dalton Jones. Dobson says okay to Andy Echeverrien's wigwagging. Back he comes, 1-0. High fly down the right field side. It is serving foul. Johnson in foul ground. Right there for the put-up. Jones retired. 2 men away, and here is the powerfully built Willie Horton. Last night during the broadcast, Chuck pointed out very accurately and pointedly about the many injuries that Willie Horton has had during his career. And I'm sure very positively that these painful injuries have just slowed down what would have been greater progress on the part of a Willie Horton. He's had problems with his knees, with his feet, with his ankles, with his Achilles tendon. He's right to the front of the box against Pat Dobson. High curve, and it has Horton ducking right under it. There's not too much velocity, that high curve. 1 ball, no strike. Dobson, right erected from now as Horton resets the feet. Now Dobson makes Willie wait. Willie just getting a little bit impatient, a little bit tight, didn't feel relaxed enough, and Willie decided, I'm not going to wait on Dobson any longer. I'm going to take a breather. Horton, as you may know, is a native of Detroit. Here's the one over the right-hand batter, way outside and by Echeverrien's miss. 2 balls and no strike. Remember, a couple of years ago during one of the post-game sessions, the Kangaroo Court in the Orioles locker room, Kurt Moulton was brought before the court, found guilty of letting Horton come in the locker room after a ball game was over, and he pleaded innocent because he said, look, a small guy like me isn't going to let a big guy like Horton not come in. The 2-0 pitch. Strike is called. Let's see, Chuck, if we can put Moulton against Horton, I guess Plus will give up about maybe 3 or 4 inches and maybe what, 30 or 40 pounds at least? And a very promising baseball career. It's 2 balls, 1 strike to Horton with Cash standing on deck. Two-one by Dobson. Curve line, left field. That'll be a Horton base hit. And Buford runs it down. Hit number 3 by the Tigers tonight. They had Rodriguez with a 1-out single in the first. They had Brinkman with a 1-out 2-bagger last inning. And now Horton 2-out single to left field. Here's Thorne and Norman. He walked in the first inning. In the National League of Philadelphia, the Mets are leading the Phillies 2-0. And the Mets are pitching the ace of their staff tonight, Tom Seaver. Frank Robinson reminding Dobson that he's not going to hold on Willie Horton. He's going to play back a bit near the foul line against the pulling power of Cash. Dobson, good look to Horton, and his slow stretch. Outside he goes to Norman Cash, ball 1. Dobson has also requested a new baseball from plate umpire Luciano.
Continuation at the beginning of side 4 after a short delay.
Pass to Dobson 1-0. It's a ground foul right behind the first base coach, and that's a native son of this area, Frank Scabb. Well, not a native son. He lives here year-round. I don't think Frank was born in this area, was he, Chuck? But he lives here year-round, of course, after the baseball season. He was born in Wisconsin, but resides just north of the city of Baltimore. 1-1. Outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Pass played to pull to right field by Blair in center and Retton London right. 2-1. Line shot right center field. On his way to second is Horton. He's on his way to third. Rettenland is throwing to third. Johnson cuts it off. So the Tigers now have the corners occupied. A slashing liner for a base hit to right center by Cash, and it pushes Horton to third base. The batter, another left-hand swinger, Jim Northrup. Tigers trying to do some damage after Dobson had no trouble getting past Rodriguez and Jones. A base hit by Horton to left and a base knock to... Northrup has been up once tonight. He bounced out second baseman Johnson to Frank Robinson in the first inning. Dobson stretching and dealing. There's a ground foul down the first base side. One of the things that you have to be careful with when you have a Northrup up there, maybe a little bit more than you do, say, with another left-hand batter by Cash, most of the time, Cash will hit his shot pulling in the right or to the right center power alley. Northrup, also a left-hand batter, however, has power not only to right, but also to left center, and he's played over to left by Buford. So 1 strike pitch on the way. There's a strike on the outside corner. 0-2 to tough Mr. Northrup. He's got quite a nickname among his Tiger mates. They refer to him as the Gray Fox. And that's because of some gray hairs he has. Dobson in a jam and trying to pull out. 0-2 to Northrup. Here's his pitch. Outside, Northrup almost went for it, changed his mind. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now, had that pitch been a little bit closer to that outside corner, that's the kind of outside pitch that Northrup likes to go with to left field. Runners lead, third and first, 2 out. Northrup 1-2. Fouls it right back off the mask of plate umpire Luciano. It's still at 1-2. Before this particular series in Baltimore, if the Tigers, staged a vote on who more than anybody else was responsible for victories against the Orioles earlier this season, I think the vote might almost be unanimous in favor of Northrup. And Dobson knows it as he said. 1-2. Inside, a good save as Esteban drops to both knees. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now, Dobson is changing speeds a bit against Northrup. This is one of those big guessing battles between a veteran pitcher and a veteran hitter. 2-2 coming in. Runners lead. Line drive, left center field. Back is Buford in left center. He one-hands it in deep left center.
Well, right now we'd like to pause briefly for station identification. We do that by saying this is the Baltimore Oriole Baseball Network.
The news here, Doug Carrick, a member of Maryland's #1 news team on Radio 11 WBAL in Baltimore.
Three nothing. That's the Oriole lead. And here come the Birds to bat on the Bird third. Rettenland, Frank Robinson, and Rich Robinson. Against starter left-hander Les Kane. High for a ball. 1 ball, no strike. Rettenland drew a walk when Kane was having that first inning control problem, as he also had last inning. Last inning, Billy Martin had Negro warming in his Tiger bullpen. The next Kane pitch is outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Nerve's batting mark, 291. 3 homers for the young man and 24 runs batted in. 2-0, shot in by Kane. That's ball 3. It's low. Kneeling on deck is Frank Robinson. The 3-0. Ball 4. Rettenmund has walked twice. Kane has now walked 4. Well, the Orioles led off the first inning with Buford. He got on. They led off the second inning with Johnson. He got on. They start the third with Rettenmund, and there he is at first base. And Nico warming again in the Tiger bullpen. Frank Robinson topped up in the first inning. Frank, a little bit sending from the waist right to the inside corner of the plate. He backs off the pitches inside and hits him below the knee. Frank Robinson has been hit by the first pitch by Les Kane, and outside Billy Martin, the Tiger manager. Rettenmund to second, Frank Robinson to first. Kane has not been able to find the plate any inning of this ball game. Well, Martin, I'm sure, is going to give Nico a little bit more time to warm, because just before Frank Robinson was hit by that pitch low on the leg, Nico was up and throwing. And there's little peppery Billy Martin with his hands in the back pocket. He's brought over Brinkman from short, brought out Lamont from back of the plate for a four-way session at the mound, plus Kane. Well, Luciano he's waited long enough. He's going to march out and find out if Martin is going to keep Kane or go to the bullpen. Martin deciding right now to stick with Kane. Brooks rolled out short to first in the first inning. The Bears mounting another threat. Runners aboard, second and first, nobody out. They got the first two men on last inning, Johnson and Belanger, and then Etchebarren walloped his second homer of the year into the left field reaches. First pitch to Brooks. Line drive, pulled foul to left. A lot of one out of it, Brooks a little bit out on top and in front of it. One strike to Brooks Robinson. Big sweeping stretch by the troubled Kane. 0-1. Fly ball, well tagged, deep left field. Horton is backing. This is going to be a Brooks Robinson 3-run homer. It is 6-0. Kane, with his back to the plate, looking to the bleachers, with his hands on his hips and his head down. 6-0 on a 3-run homer by Brooks Robinson. Martin marching to the mound, and he'll go to his bullpen. The pattern here in the third, just about the same as it was last inning. First two runners on, Etchebarren uncorked the homer. Here in the third, the first two runners on, and Brooks Robinson belts the homer. Well, as the new Tiger pitcher makes his way to the mound, we're going to pause for a moment.
Well, from out of the Tiger bullpen now comes Necro to take over for Les Kane. Kane tonight worked 2 innings plus 3 men in the bottom of the third. The Orioles have touched him for 3 base hits. A single by Dave Johnson. The other 2 hits have been home runs. A 3-run home run by Etchebarren and a 3-run home run by Brooks Robinson. Kane's problem tonight, for the most part, was control as he walked 4. He struck out 2. He was charged with a 6th run. And Joe Necro is now out of the Tiger bullpen to take over. Necro on the year shows a record of 2 wins and 4 defeats. He has twirled 61 innings, allowing 63 base hits, and his earned run mark is 4.28. While pitching 61 innings, he has thrown the home run ball 6 times, walked 29 while striking out 23. Joe Necro on the mound in relief now for the Tigers. Dave Johnson to the plate. We'll go right back to Bill.
All right, Chuck, Billy Martin has used Joe Necro this year as a starter, also as a reliever. He's relieved 9 times, started 6 times. Right-hander to Johnson. Line shot past the diving shortstop Brinkman to left field. Well, the Birds keep ripping off base hits here in the third inning. Brooks Robinson just belted the 3-run homer. Johnson greets Necro with a base hit to left. Johnson's on a 2 for 2 night. Belanger's up. He drew a walk against starter Kane last inning and was aboard, plus Johnson when Esteban homered. Birds now 6 runs and 4 hits. Necro stretching under the belt and pitching Belanger. A little bit high, ball 1. Necro does not have overpowering speed. He depends on breaking pitches. 1-0. Here's a ground ball wide of third to the hole at short. Brinkman pulls it down, throws to second. All they get at second base is a forced play on Johnson. Brinkman to McAuliffe with Belanger at first base, and that's the first out here in the Bird third. Well, a fine, warm greeting for Andy Esteban, thanks to his 3-run homer in the second inning. First time the Orioles played the Tigers this year, and that was in this park, the second home game of the year. Necro was involved in the decision. That was a losing decision to Dick Hall when the Birds beat Necro and the Tigers 6-5. His curve cut out and missed by Andy. 0-1. Andy, 2 homers, both against the Tigers. 9 runs batted in. Belanger's lead, held by Cash at first base. High to Andy, 1-1. Joe Necro, the brother of Atlanta's Phil Necro, but was entirely different pitching styles. His brother Phil of Atlanta is a knuckleball pitcher. Here's a slow ground ball to third. Near the bag, up with it is Rodriguez. He goes for Esteban, and he retires Andy over to Cash. Moving up is Belanger to second base. 2 men out in this 3-run third. Pat Dobson struck out in the second inning. Belanger halfway home and setting his lead at second base against the stretching Necro. Side, belt high. Cincinnati has quite a start against Montreal. The Reds lead 6-0 at the end of 2. That game is being played in Montreal. Pitch to Dobson is outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. 3-run homer by Esteban last inning, a 3-run blast by Brooks this inning, and it's 6-0 in the bottom of the third. 1-1. Here's a line shot base hit to right. Rounding third, trying to score, and then falling down is Jones as he plays the base hit, and Belanger does score. It was a lazy liner into shallow right. Jones slipped as he went after the base hit, and that makes it 7-0. Dobson's second run batted in. 4 runs this inning. Top of the order now with Buford, who was walked and popped up. Buford, for the first 2 trips tonight, went right-handed against Les Kane. Now he'll go left-handed against the right-handed Joe Necro. And Buford prefers to bat from this side. This is his power side. Strike, knee-high outside corner to Buford. On this warm evening, we have temperatures, we would say, in the high 70s or low 80s. Dobson is not wearing a jacket as he leads at first base. Cash right back at Dobson's lead. The 1-strike pitch to Buford, fouled in the batter's box. 0-2. Two gone, 1 on. The runner right now is Dobson. He just drove across Belanger. The study of the runner by Necro. Working 2 strikes to Buford. He's low outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Jamming the hole on the left side of the infield is third baseman Rodriguez, flying very wide and back halfway. Brinkman, the shortstop, shading his glove side right in front of the outfield grass. 1-2 to Don. Here's a ground foul by first base Kurt Stoller. It's the Orioles 7 and the Tigers nothing in the Birds third. The stretch right down to the belt. Buford 1-2, strikes outside, so it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Necro working in his 16th game this year. He's 1-2, he's lost 4. And his earned run average better than 4 runs a game. In relief, he's picked up 1 save. Slowing down, making Buford wait to find out what happens 2-2. Here it is. Change up, low ball 3. Now Dobson can start running as hard as he'd like to right now with 2 out and a 3-2 count to Buford. Chaz has backed up now even deeper at first base, so Dobson has a longer lead. 3-2, Dobson goes. It's ball 4 outside. Pat can slow down. Buford has walked for the second time. It is the 5th walk issued by Tiger pitching tonight, and we're still in the 3rd inning. 4 against the starter, Kane. Here's the ninth man now to bat this inning, Paul Blair. Blair has fanned and bounced to 3rd. Nico stretching and coming to Blair. He gets the strike in at the knees, 0-1. If Blair should deliver now with 2 on and 2 out, we'll see Merv Rettenmund again here in the 3rd inning. Merv started everything with a walk, followed by Frank being hit by a Kane pitch, and then a Brooks Robinson 3-run homer. The Birds have since scored another run. Blair on the 0-1. It's way outside low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, the Orioles, for certain, are going to go over the 500,000 mark in attendance tonight. They've built a big house again. They came in tonight with better than 497,000 for the year. Outside the Blair, 2 balls and 1 strike. And I certainly know that, at least at the moment, the many Oriole fans who have come down from nearby Hanover, Pennsylvania, enjoying this ball game with the Birds out in front 7-0. Blair 2-1 against right-hander Necro. High pop-up into shallow right center. McAuliffe drifting back. Jones coming in. It's McAuliffe calling and making the grab to retire the side. Give the Birds 4 big runs now in the bottom of the 3rd, and at the end of 3, Baltimore 7, Detroit nothing.
Well, surprise package time, and Bill Bowling done it again. Tonight is Hanover night at the stadium, and the Orioles' surprise package winner is Mr. Melvin Rubin of Randallstown. Base spells to Mr. Rubin, 51 ounces of Hanover kidney beans, 53 ounces of Hanover pork and beans, 28 ounces of Snyder's of Hanover hard pretzels. In addition, a gift certificate entitling him to a pair of quality Hanover shoes. And then Mr. Bowling said, "Congratulations, Mr. Rubin. The Orioles are glad to hand over this surprise package to you." All right, Bill.
Well, that's a lot of beans, huh?
Isn't it so?
Yes, sir. Top of the 4th for the Tigers, and their catcher stepping in, Gene Lamont. Fly ball, right field. Rettenmund breaking back just a few steps, and out number 1. Lamont down on a routine fly ball to the right fielder. 1 away, top of the 4th, and here's shortstop Brinkman. He doubled to left in the 2nd inning, right down the left field foul line. Now, Necro is due. There is no activity in the Tiger bullpen, and Necro is coming out. right-hand batting Necro against the right arm of Dobson. And Dobber works him low outside, ball one. Dobson with a 7-0 lead. And his 1-0 pitch is ball too low. 2 balls and no strikes. Dobson trying to come back. He trails in the scoreboard count 2-0. He's inside. He's further behind at 3 balls and no strikes. One of the things, and we feel it necessary to mention often, is just how grateful we are for the cooperation from people and all the scores we get in our booth. Here's high. It's ball 4. Brinkman has drawn a 1-out walk. We are getting, in recent times, extra cooperation because of the telegraphic site. Extremely good cooperation from the Orioles Public Relations Director, Bob Brown, as well as from the radio staff at WBAL. Here's Necro, the pitcher, batting for the first time, with Brinkman at first base and 1 man out. Necro waves the bat exactly as he throws. He bats right-handed. It's low. It gets away from Esteban. Rolls a bit to the left of home plate, but Brinkman doesn't want to take any chances trailing by 7 runs. Brinkman stays at first base. Dobson's look to the lead. His pitch is a strike. He nibbled on the outside corner to Necro. So let's move the count 1 ball and 1 strike to Necro with McAuliffe kneeling on deck. The Washington-Boston game is now in the 7th inning, and the Red Sox, thanks to a 5-run second, are leading 6-1. Dobson coming in, 1-1. He bends it inside. 2 balls and 1 strike. The Red Sox, as do the Tigers, as the result of the completion of the suspended game earlier tonight, both trail by 4 games. A swing and a miss. 2 balls and 2 strikes. In the Mets-Phillies game, we have had a slight correction. It is in the 7th inning, the Mets still leading 1-0. We had given you 2-0, but that score has been corrected. 2-2 coming in. Foul to the right of home plate.
Bill, there's a note in that Met game, too. Seaver struck out Martinez in the 7th inning, and that was quite a strikeout for Seaver. It marked the strikeout number 1,000 in his great career.
Here's a fellow with probably one of the great fastballs we've ever seen, and a fastball that has just outstanding control. 2-2 coming in. Swinging and a miss. Dobson strikes out Necro. Speaking of Chuck, if you don't mind, great young pitchers with not only fastballs but good control. We saw Robin Roberts in the early years of his careers with Philadelphia. You saw him in the later years. You had the pleasure of seeing him here in Baltimore. I remember Roberts somewhat the same as his Seaver, as a fellow who had a good fastball and good control with that fastball.
Roberts, when he came to the big leagues, brought with him great control. It was amazing here that as a rookie he could just throw strike after strike.
McAuliffe fouling off that first Dobson pitch to go down 1 strike. 2 away in the Tiger 4th inning, and the Birds enjoying right now, along with Dobson, a lead of 7-0. Well, the thing while we talk about that note that Chuck passed along about Seaver, for a fellow who only works every 4th day or every 5th day in a rotation, he's also supposed to be an outstanding leader. Here's a foul, out of play, and it's coming back towards the upper deck. Normally, when you have leaders on a ball club, normally it's a fellow who plays every day, but Seaver, despite that fact, still fits into that category.
Well, if he has any weakness at all, if he has a weakness, it might be a television commercial.
Ooh! Did Mr. Seaver hear that?
That was Jim.
Two strikes to McAuliffe. Frank Robinson at first base, a couple of steps back of Brinkman's two-out lead. Dobson still making McAuliffe wait. McAuliffe sticking right on that batter's box. The 0-2 fire. Swinging and a miss at a big breaking curve. Well, Dobson threw that snake at McAuliffe, and he flips the bat away along the first base foul line, right to the outside of the Tiger dugout. In the middle of the fourth inning, it's the Birds 7, Detroit nothing.
On our scoreboard, Atlanta 3, Houston 1. Necro, Bill, is working for Atlanta tonight, and Dillingham for Houston. And it's Cincinnati 6, Montreal nothing at the end of 2 innings of play. The Reds are beginning to, make sounds like the Reds should be making now. Boston 6, Washington 1 there in the 7th inning. And again, to repeat the corrected score that Ray passed along, and I hope you understand our remarks about Mr. Seaver was strictly in jest. New York 1, Philadelphia nothing there in the bottom of the 7th inning. All right, Bill.
For the Birds, Merv Rettenmund, and he was the fellow who had the walk to begin the bottom of the third, and when that bottom of the third was over, the Orioles had scored 4 more runs. Well, a few insects flying around in front of Rettenmund's face, and Merv said to Luciano, I'm going to get out of here. Merv has been up twice, down twice, and passed both times. Facing right-hander Necro. Swings and doesn't get that pitch. Strike one. Rettenmund, Frank Robinson, Brooks Robinson, in the bottom of the Bird fourth. They were leading 7-0. The next Necro pitch, the right-hander comes inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Necro with his hands right down on top of the knees as he gazes through Lamont. Around with his right arm, coming in 1-1. He's inside and high. 2 balls, 1 strike to Merv. Rodriguez third, Brinkman short, McAuliffe second, Cash first, that's the Tiger infield. Lamont is the Detroit catcher. And the Bengal outfield is Horton left, Northrup center, and Jones the right fielder. Okay, here's the Necro 2-1 to Merv. Foul to the screen. So we go 2 balls and 2 strikes. The study by Necro of Lamont's wigwagging is 2-2. Bends it on the outside corner. He threw in a hard slider, and Rettenmund gazed at it. A looking third strike to begin the bottom of the 4th inning. Strikeout number 1 for right-hander Joe Necro. Here's Frank Robinson. Frank has popped up and been hit by a pitch, and has scored a run. The winding Necro delivers Frank Robinson. Knee-high strike outside corner. The 0-1 coming in. Looping fly ball, shallow right. Long run, Dalton Jones dives. He doesn't get to it. It's beyond him. Frank is going for 2 as Jones recovers. Throws to second to plate, and Frank has a double. A looping fly ball into shallow right. Jones rushed in, dove, and he might have gotten a piece of the glove on it, but after it bounced, and then it went beyond him, and Frank Robinson has a 2-bagger. Well, after the Frank 1-out double, they're going to step out and pause for station identification. This is the Baltimore Orioles Baseball Network.
This is Don Spatz, inviting you to join me at 7:35 mornings, Monday through Friday, here on Radio 11 WBAL in Baltimore.
Frank at second, 1 gone. Brooks at the plate. And Brooks trying to pick up Frank. The last time up, Brooks hit a 3-run homer into the left field bleachers. Brooks 9 homers, 47 runs batted in. He hits a foul ball right back towards the screen. I tell you, there's some kind of friendly duel going on among the Orioles for the RBI leadership. Cowles, 49 runs batted in. Brooks Robinson, 48 runs batted in. Frank Robinson, 46 runs batted in. Frank is just doubled with one man out. Johnson is the on-deck man. The Birds, with 3 in the second on Andy's homer, with 4 in the third, 3 of them in a Brooks homer, are leading 7-0. The look back by Niekro to Frank, and working Brooks inside, right to the letters, and Brooks goes bouncing out of that batter's box. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 on, 1 gone. Say, we certainly hope you'll be by your radios to join us at Cleveland tomorrow night at 5:25 for the doubleheader. Mike Cuellar and Grant Jackson, left-handers, against Dunning and Hargan. The 1-1 deal. It's way outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Frank Robinson goes edging off second base on Niekro's stretch in his 2-1. Brooks fouls it off to the upper deck. 2-2 to Brooks. Here we are, not yet halfway through the 1971 season, and 3 fellows are all close to 50 runs batted in, the 2 Robinsons and Powell. Two. High, that's 3-2. I know you've heard ballparks explode, such as, and I have, but I'll tell you the explosion here last night when Brooks Robinson had that 3-run tying homer. It was booming. 3-2. That's ball 4. Frank Robinson stays at second. Niekro has walked his second man. The Tiger pitchers now have walked 6 men. The batter is Dave Johnson, and Mr. Johnson tonight has gone 2 for 2 plus scoring a run. Brooks will get the extra edge at first base because Cash does not hold. Look at the Tiger infield would like right now is an infield ground ball with runners at second and first and 1 out. The look to the runners by Niekro with 1 gone. There's a line drive to left field, a base hit. Fielding it is Horton. Frank Robinson is coming home. Horton throws home. It's late. It's 8-0. Johnson's third hit scores Frank Robinson from second. Johnson 34 runs batted in and 3 straight singles tonight. And the Birds are further on top, 8-0. 6 runs charged to starter Kane. 2 runs now charged to reliever Niekro. And here's the marching pitching coach, Art Fowler, coming out. Martin has marched a couple of times to the mound this evening. This time he's dispatching pitching coach Fowler. Niekro had a good start. He sent a hard slider to the outside corner to get Breton on peaking at the 3rd strike. Then he gave up a looping double to Frank Robinson to shallow right, lost Brooks Robinson on 3-2 and walked him. Has just issued a base hit to Johnson, and Johnson drove over Frank Robinson. 3 runs in the second, 3 runs in the second, 4 more last inning, and another one this inning with only 1 out and still 2 aboard. Art Fowler has his say, and there he goes running back to the Tiger dugout. Orioles enjoy 7 hits together with their 8 runs. And the man who must be enjoying it right now is Pat Dobson in the Oriole dugout. Mark Belanger's up. He has walked, bounced into a force play, and scored 2 runs. Fly ball down the right field side going foul. Cash giving it a chase near the box seat. He reaches in and can't get it. It hit somewhere on the first or second row and then bounced back on the field of play. Well, Oriole baseball fans from all over the country come into Baltimore and into Memorial Stadium. And we have a couple here tonight all the way from Seattle, Washington. Mr. and Mrs. Jack Funk are in the ballpark, along with a 90-year-old aunt, Mrs. Rebecca Funk from the city of Baltimore. And we'd like to have them here, and we're glad they came. From Seattle, Washington. One strike to Belanger. 2 runners lead. High to mark. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ball 1, strike 1. Inside, 2-1. The one story I remember about Seattle, Washington took place 2 years ago. Chuck and I had a fishing trip set up for some of the coaches and a few others in our party. We had a boat reserved, an area 50 miles away to go fishing from Seattle, and before we went, the boat blew up. 2-1 pitch. Inside, ball 3. Yes, sir.
Like that fellow says, Bill, when you're hot, you're hot, and when you're not, you're not.
Well, thank God I wasn't hot that day when it blew up. 3-1 to Belanger. Third trying to continue to damage Tiger pitching here in the 4th inning. 3-1 into mark. It popped up in the Tiger infield. The shortstop Brinkman with the infield fly rule in effect makes the putout. 2 gone in the bottom of the 4th inning. As we speak about Seattle, one of the disappointing things, and I'm not looking for sympathy, it's just a story. I had arranged a couple of weeks before, I talked to about 3 or 4 people, a friend of mine in Eugene, Oregon, who had a friend in Seattle, Washington, who knew about the Orioles coming out to Seattle, and all these arrangements were made, and everybody was looking forward to this fishing trip, and the boat blows up. Andy Etchebarren with a 3-run homer, and he's also bounced to third. It's 2 out, the 2 runners get away, and here's a strike called. Etchebarren on the outside corner. Johnson off first. Brooks Robinson off second. Frank Robinson has already scored a run this inning as Johnson drove him over. Negro making Andy wait, and Andy decides I've been here too long. I'm going to move outside. Tigers start activity again in their right field bullpen. The right-hander is throwing, and it's Galbraith. Etchebarren 1 strike against Negro with 2 away. Outside it goes. 1 ball, 1 strike. They'll change that Galbraith call to Stellbach. Stellbach warming in the Tiger bullpen. One and one coming to Etchebarren. Swing and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes. I think this is the lad Stellbach who's warming in the bullpen who was called up a short time ago when Zimmerman was sent down. The Tigers sent down Zimmerman and called this fellow up. One and two, the count to Etchebarren. In the bottom of the 4th inning. 8-0 is the Bird lead. Negro stretching and working. Swinging a miss, he strikes out Etchebarren. And that puts the 4th inning in the books, and the Orioles get another run. At the end of 4, Baltimore 8, Detroit nothing.
Hey, Bill, you were talking a little bit about our fishing trip in Seattle and how the boat blew up. And I'm glad we did because it reminded me I wanted to tell everybody about the fact that the Fleet Reserve Association from Annapolis is here tonight. There are 45 of them sitting down here in Section 35, and we're very, very happy that they're with us and enjoying the ball game. The Y Institute Summer Educational Camp from Queenstown, Maryland. 90 youngsters are here rooting for those Orioles. We're so glad to have them. Hope they can come back again.
Chuck on the top of the 5th inning. The Tigers produced Rodriguez Jones and Willie Horton against one of their ex-mates, Pat Dobson. He sends his fastball outside of the right-hand batter. Rodriguez has singled and bounced to third. Dobson right back to Rodriguez now. 1-0. Ground foul headed to this side of the Oriole dugout. 1 ball and 1 strike. The winding right-hander, Pat Dobson, to the right-hand batting Rodriguez. It blows 2 balls and a strike. In the season series right now, the Tigers lead 4 victories to 3. In this game tonight, the Orioles have a lead of 8-0 as we play the top of the 5th inning. The 2-1 pitch. Hit foul to the upper deck out and left. Chuck and I were speaking about fishing and the boat blowing up in Seattle, Washington. I guess for every one time I've had a fishing thrill, Chuck has probably had, 10. But my biggest fishing thrill came this spring down in spring training. And Chuck and I and Charlie Mayer and some other friends of ours had the pleasure of catching a big 9-foot shark. 2-2 coming. Ground ball back at third. Brooks Robinson's right on top of it and tosses in time to first baseman Frank Robinson.
Well, I don't know whether you were thrilled about that or whether you were as thrilled to find out that Charlie Mayer, who took just an endless number of pictures of this momentous occasion, this gigantic fish, and not one of them came out.
Here's Dalton Jones now, the left-hand batter. Outside, ball one. I guess the one time you want a picture, you do a little bit of personal bragging about this big 9-foot shark. You pulled the board and you said you have a picture of it, and then nothing turns out. 1-0 coming in. This is Beck swing, ground ball to the right of the mound. Dobson's on top of it. Flips to Frank Robinson, and he retires Dalton Jones. Two men out on top of the 5th inning, and Willie Horton is up. We get many fine letters from you Oriole baseball fans from all around the country. And Chuck and I, especially tonight, would like to thank 2 people who sent us in fine letters today. Mr. Paul Growler from Berlin, Massachusetts, who picks up the signal of WBAL. And Mrs. Ruel Elton of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, who picks up the signal of WGBS. We are very thankful for your nice letters. Outside to Willie Horton. 1 ball, no strike. Two down on the Tigers' 5th inning, and the Birds with a big lead of 8-0. Dobson trying to gain his 7th win of the year. He's 6-4 coming in tonight. Working Willie Horton 1-0. Low for ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. Now Dobson had a real serious jam in the 1st inning when the Tigers got 2 on with only 1 out. Later on in that inning, the Tigers had 3 on with 2 outs. And then Dobson worked long and hard against Northrop, a left-hand batter, and made him bounce out to pull out of that jam. Since then, he has given up a double to Brinkman, singles to Horton and Cash in the 3rd, and now he's facing Horton with 2 out here in the top of the 5th. His 2-0 deal. High fly, center field. Blair is going back, but he has room under that high fly. Blair for the catch, and the top of the 5th is over. In the middle of the ball game, it's the Orioles 8, the Tigers nothing. Well, friends, don't forget to vote. Vote for the American and the National League All-Star teams, the teams that will play each other in the 42nd All-Star game in Detroit on Tuesday night, the 13th of July. Ballots can be picked up at the W2 ticket window right here at the stadium, at all other Oriole ticket agencies, and at most retail stores where Gillette shaving products are sold. And now, as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning, it's our pleasure to send these microphones over to Chuck Thompson.
Thank you, Bill, and good evening, everybody. Here is Pat Dobson, Oriole leadoff hitter in the bottom of the 5th inning, and the Birds on the long end of an 8-0 count right now. Necro fires, missing inside low, ball 1. The Dauber tonight looked at a 3rd strike in the 2nd inning, and then he singled into right field to knock in one of the Oriole runs in his last trip to the plate in the 3rd. Swing and a pop-up down the first base side. Norm Cash and the second baseman getting together. It'll be Cash who says he's got it, and by golly, he has. Johnson on the pop to Norm Cash for the first out of the inning. And now here is Don Buford. He has twice walked tonight and popped to the second baseman. Well, Bill and I will be talking to you from Cleveland, Ohio tomorrow evening. The Orioles will be in there to play a finite doubleheader. The first game begins at 5:30. That means we'll be on the air at 5:25 with a full night of baseball. Those Indians, as you well know, have been going very well here of late. Buford stands in, and Necro, the right-hander, kicks and fires. Swinging a soft line drive out behind second base. It is caught by the shortstop, Brinkman. Handle hit soft line drive out behind the bag, and Brinkman coasted under it and made the grab. 2 down in the Oriole half of the fifth inning, and out Paul Blair. He is struck out, grounded to third, and popped to the second baseman. Necro in the move, the pitch to Blair. Strike, outside corner at the knees. The Birds' most productive innings tonight have been second and third. Ball down low now to Paul. 1 ball, 1 strike. They scored 3 runs and 2 hits. The big hit in that inning was the Esteban home run, and they got 4 runs on 3 hits in the third, and another 3-run home run from Brooks Robinson in that inning. 1-1. Swing and a foul back to the screen. The count is now 1-2 to Paul Blair. Well, the probables for tomorrow night's doubleheader, Mike Cuellar and Grant Jackson against Steve Dunning and Jim Hargan. So 1-2 to Blair, lone away, 2-2. Then Thursday, it should be Jim Palmer against Sam McDowell. Palmer against McDowell Thursday night. 2-2 to Blair. Fly ball, left field away. Willie Horton coming up on the ball. Can't get there. Drops in for the base hit. Blair has his first hit of the evening. A single to left field. And the Orioles now on the board with 8 base hits. Here is Merv Rettenmond. He has walked twice and been called out on strike. Has scored one of the Orioles 8 runs. Necro in relief of starter Les Kane. Kane tonight he just didn't have a thing. He looked uncomfortable from the opening pitch. Did not have control, and when he did try to rectify that, the Birds were able to get to him. The ball 1 is inside the Rettenmond. Hard to say whether he was kind of taking something off pitches in order to throw strikes, but he threw 2 home run pitches. Both 3-run home runs. 1 ball, no strikes to Merv Rettenmond. Blair at first with 2 down, low and outside, ball 2. 2-0 now. So 2-0 to the waiting Rettenmond. Strike over the inner corner at the knees. 2-1. Joe Necro facing the Orioles tonight, and his brother Phil is pitching for the Atlanta Braves. And in all truth and honesty, Dalton Jones has been having his difficulties in right field tonight. That was a most catchable fly ball, deep right field, and Jones broke in on the ball, then tried to correct his mistake and never got to it. And on behalf of Dalton Jones, if you are not aware of the fact, you should be aware of the fact that he has played the greater part of his career as an infielder. And I'm sure it feels kind of strange out the fact that you should be aware of the fact that he has played the greater part of his career as an infielder. And I'm sure it feels kind of strange out there to Dalton tonight. The 9th run is in on Rettenmond's double over Jones's head, and here is Frank Robinson. Foul ball coming right up into the TV booth next door. Rettenmond at second with 2 down. 9-0 the O's, and Frank has popped the second and hit by a pitch, and he too doubled. When Dalton Jones stumbled himself trying to get to one of his drives in right field. Pitch coming to Frank is outside to make the count even 1 ball, 1 strike. Out on the Tiger bullpen, Charlie Steelback, the right-hander, is throwing. Frank backs off momentarily. The count standing at 1-1. Now Now the 1-1 offering to Frank Robinson. Necro ready to go out of the stretch to the center field. Fly ball well hit deep left field. Back goes the left fielder back of the warning track. Leap. And he didn't get it. He dropped the ball. Rettenmund is scoring. And here is Frank going into second base. Horton did everything possible to bring off that play. But he went racing back across the warning track to the wall and made a desperate leap. He did get it in his glove. He could not hold on. And when he hit the wall, the ball dropped out of the glove, and Frank Robinson is on with a double, and Rettenmund is in with a 10th run. A pair of doubles tonight for Frank. And a run batted in. And that apparently is going to be all for Joe Necro as he heads for the dugout. Billy Martin is going to make a pitching change, and I would not be surprised if it would be Charlie Steelback, who has been throwing out there. I haven't seen anyone else doing any warming. So Necro heads to the dugout, and the gate swings open in the right field bullpen area, and we'll have another Tiger pitcher coming on, and a chance once again to hear from Bill O'Donnell.
Okay, Chuck, Necro has left the scene as Billy Martin stands at the mound to await the appearance now of right-hander Charlie Steelback. And Necro, since coming on in relief in the third, the starter Les Kane has been whacked around very hard. In 2 3/4 innings, he has given up 4 runs, 7 base hits, has fanned 2 and walked 2. And to our knowledge, at least, this is the first major league appearance of Charlie Steelback. Steelbach, Charlie Steelback, just called up recently by the Tigers out of their farm system. Steelback comes up with Frank Robinson at second base after doubling home Nerve Rettenmund to make it a 10-0 game. 3 runs for the Orioles in the second on an Andy Echeverria 3-run homer. 4 in the third, including Brooks Robinson's 3-run homer. 1 more last inning, and that run was knocked over by Dave Johnson. And now 2 more this inning. A double by Rettenmund, plating Blair. A double by Frank Robinson, scoring Rettenmund. And the first man against whom Steelback will throw will be Brooks Robinson. While Steelback warms the arm with Lamont. In the game at Milwaukee tonight, the White Sox and the Brewers are scoreless in the second inning with John against Slayton. There are 2 later American League games this evening. At California, the Angels against Kansas City. It'll be Mike Hedlund against Tom Murphy out there at Anaheim. And at Oakland tonight, Minnesota takes on the Oakland A's and Vida Blue to try to gain his 17th win. It'll be Corbin against Blue much later tonight in Oakland. In the National League, in the eighth inning of Philadelphia, the Mets lead the Phillies 3-0. And the Mets have homers tonight, all solo homers by Jerry Brody, Cleon Jones, and Ed Cranepool, as Tom Seaver so far is pitching shutout ball and has a Mets lead of 3-0. In the National League this afternoon, the Cubs and Billy Ham beat the Dodgers by a score of 3-2 with win number 9 for Ham and his 5th win in the month of June. Cubs 3, the Dodgers 2. In the American League this afternoon, the Yankees whipped the Indians 9-2. Klein beat Foster. That's Klein's 7th win. He is 7-6. Foster, the loser, he is 5-6. Okay, Steelback is ready, and so is Chuck.
Well, Bill, this is, as you pointed out, the Major League debut of Chuck Steelback. June the 24th, Bill Zepp and Connie Timmerman were out in Toledo, and Bill Gilbreth and Charlie Steelback were purchased from that AAA farm club. The right-hander throws high to Brooks Robinson, ball 1. And the 1-0 pitch to Brooks, ground foul down the third base side, and the count is even at 1-1. 10-0 the Orioles. Well, the RBI power tonight, well, 3 of them from Metro Brown, 3 from Brooks Robinson, 1 from Dobson, Johnson, Rettenmund, and Frank Robinson. Now the 1-1 to Brooks, high with a fastball, 2-1. Charlie was 4-2 with Toledo. The 2-1 offering inside high to Brooks, 3-1 now. And the ball 4 high to Brooks Robinson. And Steelbox issues a walk to the first man he faces in the major leagues. And, of course, it'll be something he'll never forget. But the first batter he faced was Brooks Robinson. And now here is Dave Johnson. And when you're hot, you're hot. And Dave is 3 for 3 tonight with a run batted in. They have all been line drive shots into left field. Strike call today. Took a reading on the first offering from Steelbox. Ball is high inside, and Johnson goes down. Now the 1-1 pitch coming to Dave Johnson on the way. Foul ball coming right up to the booth next door. Tiger pitchers have been most charitable to the Oriole hitters here in this game. They have issued 7 walks. We owe you a station break. Get it for you at the first opportunity. The 1-2. Look out! It hit Dave Johnson's batting helmet. And Johnson is up, but okay. He is shaken, but boy, that ball hit the peak of the batting helmet. And Johnson went down. He apparently is just shaken up, but Earl Weaver and Mark Belanger and Billy Hunter, everybody around him. And this youngster is just wild, and he's about as upset, if not more upset, than Dave Johnson is. It's a terrifying experience, but thank goodness for the batting helmet. And it hit, I believe, the peak of the helmet, knocked the cap off. And manager Earl Weaver says, "Look, Dave, let's just forget about it for the night." Dave is walking off okay. With manager Earl Weaver, and Ralph Salvon is also going with Davey. And they'll give him whatever treatment they need. And, of course, if precautionary examinations are necessary, that will be taken care of. But it was just a pitch that got away from the young kid, Charlie Steelback, and he's I'm quite sure, just about as upset as is Dave Johnson. So we'll get Jerry DeVannen out of the Oriole dugout now to run. And a report will come up from the Orioles clubhouse on Dave Johnson. We'll get the station break for you right now. This is the Baltimore Oriole Baseball Network.
This is Nick Steffen, your weekend gardener. Tune in each Saturday morning at 10:30 here on Radio 11 WBAL Baltimore.
All right, Jerry DeVannen goes in to run now, and the bases are loaded with 2 down. And here is Mark Belanger. That's the pitch from the young right-hander Steelbox. Just got away from him. That's all there was to it. And he just almost jumped off the mound in his hurry to get to the plate and see how Johnson was. Here is Mark Belanger with the bases loaded and 2 out. This is Steelbox's major league debut. The pitch coming down to Belanger. Low and outside, it's out of the middle of the catcher. Here's Frank Robinson heading for the plate. And he will score run number 11. I believe it'll be a wild pitch. We'll wait for the official scorer's verdict on the play. But run number 11 is in. And I think a reasonable guess from up here. No, they say that is a pass ball charged to the catcher, Lamont. A pass ball rather than a wild pitch. Okay. Bill? Chuck Green's chance is up right now, and he's warming very, very rapidly, unusually quick in the Tiger bullpen. Now, this young fellow in his major league debut, Bill, I kind of feel is just as tight as a drum. He's extremely nervous, and that experience he had with Dave Johnson, I'm sure, really frightened him. He's high now with the ball. 3-0 to Mark Belanger. And it has been said so many times, and it is so very true, of pitching in the big league. When you get to that mound, it is the most lonesome spot in the world. Now the 3-0 pitch to Belanger. Strike call, and the young kid fired a pretty good fastball. Boy, that was a just a shocking sort of a thing involving Dave Johnson. I'm happy to report that apparently he is okay, but it was awfully close. 3-1 pitch. Over the inside corner, and a strike is called to Belanger. 3-2. Brooks is to third base, and Jerry Devannon, who is running for Dave Johnson, is out at second, and the 3-2 to Mark Belanger. He gets a piece of it, fouls it right behind the plate, and the count holds 3-2. We not only, watching, but you could hear the impact of that ball hitting the feet of the plastic helmet. And that's the sound you never want to hear. The 3-2 pitch coming to Belanger. Looked out, high inside it. And Belanger is down to the walk. So this young fellow's he's just wild, that's all. And I'm sure he's nervous. This wouldn't be normal if he were not nervous. But this is the only reason is baptism by fire, and it's something he's going to have to get through. Here is Andy Etchebarren, the ninth hitter to come on here in this last half of the fifth inning. And the pitch and field box is low, ball one. Gene Lamont now calls time. He was going to go to the mound to see if there's something he might be able to do to help the youngster. And the Bird fans here in the ballpark naturally eat it up. They've got an 11-0 lead, and I guess maybe 11 more wouldn't make them unhappy either. But as soon as the word comes out of the Oriole clubhouse about Dave Johnson's near miss, we'll pass it along to you. 1-0 the count to Andy Etchebarren. Charlie Seelbach throws high and tight to Etchebarren, ball two. Second time tonight, the Orioles have sent everybody in the order up here in the inning. Still, the final is in Boston, 6-2 over the Senators. Lon Borg is the winner. The pitch, foul ball, going to be in the upper deck behind the plate. 2-1. Dean Chance throwing in the Tiger bullpen. Line drive caught by the third baseman Rodriguez for the final out of the inning. At the end of 5, Baltimore 11, Detroit nothing. Well, welcome to Baltimore tonight to 28 young men from Club Scout Pack 444 in Phoenix, Maryland. And they're seated very comfortably right now in section 41 of the upper deck. We have two pieces of nice news today. Very fine young lady who takes care of the lounge back of the press box here at the stadium. Bertha Livingston is doing very well after being confined at St. Joseph's Hospital. And Miss Bertha is going back home tomorrow night to rest for a couple of weeks before returning to the stadium. And we wish her well in her recuperation. It's also nice to hear that one of the great Oriole fans, Fitz Serial, is back out of the hospital and back home. And Fitz Serial, we hope we see here at the ballpark in the next few weeks. Okay, Fitz. All right, here's Dobson's opening pitch to Cash, rolling outside, ball one. Nice to know that those dear friends of the Orioles are recuperating and coming back the way they are. Now the 1-0 pitch, Norman. And the 1-0 pitch. Swing and a miss. Ball and a strike. Well, the Orioles got Dobson a 7-0 lead out of Minnesota one day. He couldn't hang on to that. But other than that one time, the Orioles have never given Dobson too many runs to work with, but he's got 11 of them on the board tonight. The 1-1 to Cash. Fly ball foul. It's going to be out of play off here on the first base side. The count to Cash, a ball and 2 strikes. I bet that young Detroit right-hander, Charlie Seelbach, is glad that that inning is over. From here on out, he can go to work. The 1-2 pitch coming to Cash. Look out, it's low inside, 2-2. Now the 2-2 offering coming down to Norman. The curve is just a bit high, and it's 3-2. All of a sudden, we're being invaded here at the stadium with thousands of flying insects of some sort. You remember that picture years and years ago, Hoyt Wilhelm on the mound in Comiskey Park in Chicago, and they were spraying him with insect repellent? One of baseball's great pictures. 3-2. The count to Norm Cash. Dodson delivers. Fouled out of play, headed to the press box. Back out again. That picture and the picture of Enos Country Slaughter after a Yankee fight. 3-2 offering. Fly ball, well hit. Right field, it may go. Yes, sir, it's a Norman Cash home run. His 17th home run of the year. And Dodson loses the shutout to the leadoff hitter here in the top of the sixth inning. The batter now will be Jim Northrup. Dodson's pitch is a curve in and a strike called. The one strike pitch. Dodson to Northrup. And Gray Fox stands in ready to go. Dodder rocks and throws. Changed up, but he was low and inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here's the 1-1 offering. Third, another drive well hit deep right field. This one's got a chance. It, too, is a home run. And it's 11-2. Well, we've seen this happen to Dodson before. Remember the one game against Boston when they hit 4 home runs? Well, Jim Northrup is in with a second run and his 6th home run of the year. And now here is Gene Lamont. Ball 1 is down low to the left-handed swinger. Of the 6 Northrup home runs this year, he has hit 3 against the O's. 11-2 Baltimore. Pitch to Lamont. Strike called. And the 1-1 offering. Curve. Checks his swing. Didn't stop it in time. A fine off-speed breaking pitch from Dodson. And the count now to the left-handed swinger is a ball and 2 strikes. Nobody out. 2 Tiger runs in on back-to-back homers, Cash and Northrup. Swing and a miss. And that's all for Lamont as Dodson picks up another strikeout, number 4. And the batter will be Ed Brinkman. Eddie doubled the left and walked in 2 turns against Dodson tonight. Brinkman a right-handed swinger, and Dodson is low with a ball 1. Dean Camp at work in the Tiger bullpen. The 1-0 pitch, ground ball right back to Dodson. He's got it. Flips a little rainbow toss to Frank at first base for the second out of the inning. And the 2 batters are pitch in. Let's see who manager Martin will send out here. Whether he'll come out with Steelbach, apparently not with Camp working. He's going to send somebody else out here. Steelbach is, I see, trying on a batting helmet down there in the dugout. Looks as though Ike Brown is also starting to move in the vicinity of the bat rack. Looks like Ike, and it is. Ike Brown. Ike, last night in the 13-inning ball game here at the stadium, came to the plate a total of 4 times with 2 base hits and scored a run. Right-handed swinger is Ike Brown, hitting in the neighborhood of 320. Batting In for field box, Ike Brown. Strike called as Johnson nailed the outer corner with a good hard slider. And the one strike offering coming to Ike. Johnson rocks and deals. Curved in. Beautiful pitch. Strike 2 called. That's the kind of a curveball that they talk about when they say, rolls off the table. That one really had a lot of break. 2 strikes to count to Ike Brown. Johnson ready to go. Here's the pitch. Outside and low on the ball. A ball and 2 strikes to the pinch hitter, Ike Brown. And right back. Sidearm breaking ball hit in the dirt to the shortstop. Belanger. He slipped as he set up the throw. Now firing in time. And Brown is the final out. 2 runs, 2 hits, nobody left at the end of 5 and a half. Baltimore 11 and Detroit 2.
Well, the Tigers not only make a change in their pitchers, but they also make a change in their infield. Ike Brown, who batted for Steelbach in the top of the 6th inning. Ike Brown stays in the ball game. He will go to second base. McAuliffe, who had been playing second base, now moves to shortstop, replacing Brinkman. So it's Rodriguez still at third, McAuliffe to shortstop, with Brown at second base and Chance still at first. And the new pitcher is the veteran right-hander Gene Chance. He is the 4th Tiger pitcher in this ball game, following Shane Niekro and Steelbach. Now to run down the American League scoreboard for you this afternoon. The Yankees 9, the Indians 2, Klein beat Foster. Tonight, the Red Sox with a 5-run second inning defeated Washington 6-2. Lombard beat Bluebird, and John Kennedy had a Red Sox home run. In the second inning at Milwaukee, it's the White Sox and the Brewers scoreless. Later tonight, Kansas City at California. Headland goes against Murphy in that one. Minnesota at Oakland, Corbin against Blue, and Vida Blue will try to get his 17th win. In the National League this afternoon, the Cubs beat the Dodgers 3-2, hands over Mulder. Tonight, the Mets and Seaver flank the Phillies 3-0. That's Seaver's 10th win as he pitched a 4-hit shutout. At Montreal, the Reds lead the Expos with 7-0 in the 6th inning. St. Louis, the Cardinals won the Pirates nothing in the second inning with Walker against Cleveland. At Houston, the Braves lead the Astros 3-1 in the 4th inning.
Okay, Bill, here is Pat Dobson leading off against Gene Chance, and his first offering was inside and high, ball 1. Dobson divided the hitter 1 for 3 with a run batted in. And the 1-0 to Pat swung on a ground ball bouncing toward the new second baseman Ike Brown. The one-handed grab, the throw to first, 1 out. Dobson on the ground ball of the new second baseman Ike Brown. McAuliffe moves over to short. That means that Gene Chance will be hitting in the number 8 spot in the Tiger batting order. Don Buford, a pair of walks, and he was popped to the second baseman and line to the shortstop. Buford steps in, and the Tigers cut their infield around to the first base side and the outfielder right and deep. Chance's pitch is too high and outside, ball 1. Gene Chance on the season for the Tigers shows 3 wins and 6 defeats, 64 innings to an earned run of 3.23. Foul ball up the netting, 1 ball, 1 strike to Oriole left fielder Don Buford. Given a total of 4 home runs in this ball game so far, 2 by the Birds and 2 by the Tigers. 3-run home runs by the Orioles. Solo blast by the Tigers. Swinging a towering foul ball off the first base side. It's going to be back into the seats and out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Don Buford. Ground ball to the right side of the second baseman and on through into center field. And Don Buford singles here in the bottom of the 6th inning. And, Bill, would you like to pass along the report on Dave Johnson?
The report that just came along, Chuck, is that he has been examined by a doctor, and the doctor says he is okay. There's a little soreness as the ball, after hitting the peak of the plastic helmet, also grazed Dave's nose and the area around the nose, and there's some soreness there.
Okay, and we understand that he kind of got his left wrist up there in front of it. The ball kind of glanced off the wrist and then hit the peak of the helmet, and so it was a scary but not a serious injury to Dave Johnson. High pop-up off the bat of Paul Blair, calling for it to shortstop McAuliffe. And on the skin of the infield near the bag at second, he gloves it for the second out of the inning. 2 down. Merv Rettenmont, he's walked twice and then doubled over the head of the right fielder, Dalton Jones. Now, Gates Brown was originally listed to play in the ball game tonight, but in the very first inning, he pulled a hamstring muscle running out of bouncer to Dave Johnson and had to leave the ball game. Chance's pitch to Merv is too tight, ball 1. And the 1-0. Low, ball 2 to Merv. Foul ball up the netting behind the plate. 2 balls and a strike to the Orioles right fielder Merv Rettenmont. The 2-1 to Rettenmont is on the way. Low and inside. 3 balls and a strike. The Orioles will be in Cleveland tomorrow night against the Cleveland Indians in a twilight doubleheader that begins at 5:30 out in Cleveland. The 3-1 pitch is ball 4, high in sight, and that's the 9th walk issued by Detroit pitching tonight. Mike Cuellar and Grant Jackson are the starters for the Orioles in that doubleheader tomorrow night in Cleveland. They'll be opposed by Steve Dunning. He is 6-5. Jim Hargan, who is 1-6. Jackson on the year, 1-1, and of course, I'm sure you're aware of the fact that Cuellar has won 11 games and lost only 1. Here is Frank Robinson. Oriole runners at first and second. He tried to stop the swing, couldn't get it done. Strike is called. One strike to count batter Frank Robinson. Buford at second, Rettenmont at first. The pitch is outside. That ball and a strike. In the continuation of the game that was suspended last night, after 13 innings, the Tigers defeated the Orioles tonight, 9-4 in the 15th inning. Ball 2, high and outside to Frank Robinson. And Walk played a great big share in that Tiger win in the continuation of the suspended game. 2-1 to Frank. Thinking he didn't get it. 2-2. Dean Chance with a 2-2 to Frank Robinson. Line drive, base hit, right field. Buford coming hard. He's going to score. On his way to third is Rettenmont. And Frank is delivered with his 3rd hit of the ball game. Buford scores number 12. To third base, Rettenmont. Frank now has knocked in 2 runs this evening. And to the plate comes Brooks Robinson. He's knocked in 3. Brooks is grounded to short, homered with 2 men aboard, and walked twice. Chance is first offering to Brooks. Foul ball out of play on the first base side. Strike 1. Oh, what a catch the spectator made in the front row of the upper deck. He made a good grab. Leaning out over the railing, picked that off. Nice it could be. Swing and a miss as Chance jams Brooks with a fastball. 0-2. 2 strikes, the count to Brooks. Frank leading first base, Rettenmund leading third. Chance is ready to go, and the 2-strike offering. Strike 3 called outside corner at the knees, and that's it for the Orioles in the 6th. At the end of 6 complete, Baltimore 12, Detroit 2. Bill, we have a change again in the Oriole infield. The big fella goes to first base. That means Boog Powell is now at first, replacing Frank Robinson. Here's Dick McAuliffe. Dobson throws a fastball high, ball 1. The Oriole infield has Powell at first, Jerry Devon at second, Belanger short, and the Brooks Robinson third. The 1-0 to McAuliffe. Ball 2 is blown outside. Buford left, Blair in the middle, and Rettenmund over in right field, and Andy Esteban in there behind the plate tonight. 2-0. Dobson steps and throws. Fastball is fouled out of play behind the plate. Two balls and a strike to Dick. He's got one of the most remarkable batting stances you'll see today. Wide open. Kind of a John L. Sullivan stance. Ground ball right back off the shoe of pitcher Dobson. Brooks Robinson scrambles over and makes the pickup, but by the time he got to the ball, he had no chance of making a throw. That ball either sounded off the glove or hit the foot of Dobson and sounded off the third base side, and Brooks got to it but had no chance of making a play. Leadoff single by shortstop McAuliffe brings third baseman Aurelio Rodriguez to the dish. Aurelio was single to left in the first inning and then twice grounded to third baseman Robinson. The set by Dobson, the pitch. Line drive, center field. Blair coming hard. He can't get there. Has to back off and play it on the first hop. And the Tigers have got their first 2 men aboard here in the top of the 7th inning. And on those 2 ringing singles, we'll take a station break. This is the Baltimore Oriole Baseball Network.
This is John Stedman. We're with you every morning on the Sports Wire with a personal look at the whirling world of sports on Radio 11 WBAL in Baltimore.
Here is Dalton Jones. Reached on an error, fouled out, and bounced to the mound. Ball 1 is too low to Dalton. And it looks like Dick Hall is getting ready again down in the Oriole bullpen. Dobson's 1-0 pitch to Dalton Jones. Fly ball hits the right field. Rettenmund coming up on the ball is there and makes the catch. And now tagging and going to third base after the catch is Dick McAuliffe. One away on a line shot to the right fielder, Merv Rettenmund. And headed to the plate now is the big, strong Willie Horton. Reached on a fourth, singled, and fly to the center fielder. Behind Willie Horton, the left-hand swinging Norman Cash. I see they've got a Tommy Dukes out there in the Oriole bullpen rather than Dick Hall. Pitch. Line drive out into shallow right center. It's in for the base hit. And here is McAuliffe in with a third Tiger run. Racing over to third base goes Rodriguez. Horton just reached out and stabbed a soft line drive single in the alley in right center. And it's 11-3, and the Tigers continue to bang away at Dobson. He held him to 4 hits through the first 5 innings. And now, in the last 2 innings, he has given up a total of 5 base hits, including 2 home runs. George Bamberger is on his way. And Norman Cash is the new batter. Cash, who has walked, singled, and homered. And the score again is Baltimore 12, Detroit 3. Bamberger didn't take too long. He's headed back to the dugout right now. Here's Cash. Tiger runners first and third and 1 away. And Dobson's first offering to Norm Cash. Swinging a foul. This one has hit catcher Andy Esteban right up off the left shoulder, and it is a little uncomfortable. Strike 1. Luciano and Dobson exchanging baseballs. Esteban down behind the plate, just, that's kind of grin and bear it, I guess. But that had to hurt. One strike, the count to Cash. Dobson ready once more. Here's the right-hander set, the kick and the pitch. The curve is outside to Cash, a ball and a strike. Rodriguez, the runner at third base. Willie Horton, the runner at first base. One away. We're in the top of the seventh inning. Baltimore 12, Detroit 3. 1-1 to Cash. Curve missed again outside. 2-1. And the 2-1 to the waiting Cash. The arm down on the pitch. Ground ball hit sharply first base side. It's foul ball. And the count now 2-2. Powell got just about got to it. May have touched it a little bit. Hard to say. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Cash. We have activity now in both bullpens. The Tiger bullpen is activated again. Dobson with a 2-2 pitch to Cash. Tiger runners at first and third and 1 out. And the Oriole right-hander ready to go. He steps and throws. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Fine off-speed breaking pitch from Dobson, and Cash did not look at all good. Looked as though he kind of halfway through the swing decided I'd better not go, and he just couldn't do it. 5 strikeouts now for Pat Dobson. 2 out of the inning. Bill Dennehy throwing in the Tiger bullpen. And the left-hand hitting Jim Northrup. After bouncing to the second baseman and hitting a line drive into left field, Northrup followed Cash's solo home run in the 6th inning with one of his own. High and away, ball 1. So 1-0 pitch to Northrup. Outside, ball 2. Dobson struggling just a trifle here in the late innings. Been kind of a warm night, but not an uncomfortably warm night. Bill Dobson has done a lot of work. He had a very tough first inning to begin with. Missed with his fastball. 3-0 now. Three balls, no strikes, and the pitch. Strike called, and Northrop was content to look it into the mid of Esteban. And now sits in the driver's seat waiting the hitter's pitch. 3 balls and a strike. Horton walks off his lead at first base. Rodriguez at third base with 2 outs. The 3-1 pitch coming down to Northrop. Curve. Oh, it was a beauty. Strike 2 called. Well, this will turn Willie Horton loose at first base with 2 down and a 3-2 count to the Gray Fox, Jim Northrop. Here's the pitch. Outside, ball 4 to load the bases. For Dobson, that will be his first walk since back in the first inning when he walked Cash at that time to load the bases. Now Gene Lamont. This left-handed swinger is grounded to second, fly to right, and struck out. Left-hand hitter, he's a little deep in the box, straightaway stance. And Dobson's pitch, swing and a miss. Looks like Lamont swung right through the pitch. And the 1-strike pitch, ground ball hit first base way. Drew Charles in front of it. He's got it. The throw to Dobson covering at first. It's in time to take care of Lamont. And the Tigers in the top of the 7th. At the end of 6 1/2, Baltimore 12, Detroit 3.
Well, here's the latest on the National League scoreboard. The Reds getting a lot of runs tonight. They got 4 in the first, 2 in the second, 3 in the 6th inning, plus another run. So the Reds are leading right now 11-0 over Montreal. Behind Tony Cloninger is also working on a one-hitter. The Reds 11, Montreal nothing going to the ninth. Bradford and Rose have homered for Cincinnati. Cards enjoy an 8-1 lead over the Pirates in the fourth at St. Louis. Atlanta 5, Houston 2, sixth inning at Houston. San Francisco at San Diego later tonight with Perry against Roberts. The Mets blank the Phillies 3-0, a 4-hit shutout as Tom Seaver won his 10th.
Here is Jerry Devannon with a swing and a foul ball off the third base side. And the count 1 strike. Jerry has been in 9 Oriole ball games. Been to the plate 11 times with 5 hits, a 1 batted in, and a strong 4.55 batting average. Chance delivers, ground ball, base hit in the hole to left field, and here's Devannon again with another base knock. For the Orioles, their 13th base hit of the ball game. Cash takes the bag with Devannon. Here now, Mark Belanger. He has walked, put into a fourth, popped the short, walked again. Swinging a foul ball headed toward the mezzanine. He looks out up there. Hope everybody's all right. Strike 1. And the ball, 1 ball and 1 strike. Chance to first base, Devannon back safely. Tony Taylor now at third base for the Tigers here in the bottom of the 7th. Another throw to first, back safely. Jerry Devannon. Time called now. Belanger backs out of there. Swinging a foul right at the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Mark. Tomorrow night, a doubleheader comes your way out of Cleveland. First game begins at 5:30. We'll be on the air at 5:25. Single game on Thursday. Then we're on to Detroit for Friday night, Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon, and Monday afternoon. Now the 1-2 pitch to Mark Belanger. Inside, a 2 ball, 2 strikes. And the Orioles will be coming back home. Tuesday, July the 6th, we're back here to open up an 8-game homestand. At strike 3, it's called to Belanger. Chance notches his second strikeout. 1 out of the inning, and the batter now, Andy Etchebarren. When we come back home next Tuesday night, we open the homestand with a Twilight doubleheader against the Senators. Senators will also be here for a single night game, July the 7th and 8th. Then the Indians move in for 4-game weekend series, including a Friday night game on the 9th. A Twilight doubleheader on Saturday, the 10th of July. High foul ball is going to be out of play off the third base side. Strike 1 to Etchebarren. And then Sunday, we'll begin the first of 5 Sunday Twilight single games. We'll begin our single Twilight game Sunday at 5:30 on July the 11th. 1 strike to Andy, 1 out. Jerry Devannon, the runner at first base. Dean Chance working for the Tigers. And the right-handed pitch coming down to Etchebarren. Swing and a miss. 2 balls, or rather 2 strikes to count to Andy Etchebarren. Big right-hander Tommy Dukes just kind of lobbing the ball out there in the Oriole bullpen. 2 strike pitch to Etchebarren outside and a ball, 1-2. Birds will be flying out of here tomorrow, 11 o'clock in the morning. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Pushed up by Chance. Look at foul ball to the screen, kind of a check swing on Etchebarren's part. And the 1-2 to Andy. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Chance notches number 3 in the strikeout column. 2 out of the inning. And Pat Dobson heads for the plate. Johnson, a 1-for-4 hitter tonight, and a run batted in. Here's a line drive into center field for another base hit. Racing on down to second base goes Jerry DeVannon. And Johnson had 2 hits tonight and 5 trips. Man, Norm Cash is giving him a little friendly treatment down there at first base. Former teammates, and they have a lot of respect for each other. Norm, incidentally, has one of the more talented needles in the American League. He's a dandy. Runners at first and second base, Don Buford. Chance kicks and fires to Buford, missing outside low, ball 1. Norman Dalton Chance, just his first pitch. 1-0 pitch coming to Buford. Fly ball in the alley, left center field, going hard as Willie Horton can't get to it. All the way to the wall. Here's DeVannon. Dobson is coming to third. Dobson is coming home. Buford is going to third, and the Orioles have picked up 2 more runs. A triple by Buford in the alley in left center. DeVannon checks into the 13th. Dobson all the way to first base to the 14th. And Buford to third with 2 down. And here now is Paul Blair. Good breaking pitches into Blair. Strike called. Johnson kind of surprised me. He got it in gear and was rolling along pretty good. Strike 2 is called to Blair. Outside corner of the letters. And the 2-strike pitch to the waiting Paul Blair with Buford at third and 2 down. Here it is. Inside high, and Blair is out of the way. 1-2. Blair tonight has 1 hit in 5 trips. Chance ready. Here's the pitch. Missed, blown away. 2-2. Playoff Grant Jackson go tomorrow night for the O's against Dunning and Hargan out in Cleveland. Wrap-up ought to be a dandy. Palmer against McNally, or rather Palmer against McDowell Thursday night. Swing on a miss. There is a strikeout, Wilson. The Olds grab off 2 more runs and 3 hits and leave a runner at the end of 7. Baltimore 14, Detroit 3.
That's the call to action in the place where Gracie is Sunoco. Only Sunoco has the accurate 360 power.
Well, there's an evening of great fun ahead here at the ballpark. Of course, when the ball club is on, it's always fun night, but this will take place when the ball club is on the road. It's a fine entertainment on the night of July the 17th, beginning at 8:15. And the night to which we refer is the 18th annual March of Champions right here at the stadium. It's a real spirited competition featuring precision drills to your favorite J-Team. Some fine entertainment for the entire family. So mark it down now. The 17th of July at 8:15, the March of Champions right here at the ballpark. Incidentally, it is sponsored by the current American-made national champion from Hamilton Post number 20. And that's the famous Yankee Rebel. Tonight's attendance, as just announced by Phillips, is in excess of 20,000. And that pours the Orioles now over the 500,000 mark for 1971.
Well, Mickey Stanley is batting for Dean Chance, and Dobson's pitch is a curve inside ball 1. 21,299 paid tonight here at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore. They did better than 17,000 last night, better than 21,000 tonight, and a Monday and a Tuesday night. Not too bad. The pitch. Strike call to Stanley. Stanley's got 3 hits and 6 trips here in the 2 games between the Olds and the Tigers. Stanley, Ike Brown, and Dick McAuliffe are the 2 batters. Top of the 8th inning. Dobson's 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss, and there goes the bat toward the box seat railing off the third base side. Up. And some fan reaches over and picks it up, and now begins to run out of the ballpark with it. And I don't know why people applaud, but now the youngster's running right back down with it. He's just having a little fun. Okay. If it had gone into the seats, it's, his right to take it, but he does not have the right to come over the seat and get it. But Luciano has done something. Plate umpire Luciano walked right over to the young fellow and said, hey, we can't let you do that from here. And he flipped him a baseball, Bill. Way to go. But if it had gone into the seats on the fly, okay. But not to reach over the seats and grab it back. Now the Tigers, here's a strike call to Stanley, and that'll be the first out of the inning. Now the Tigers are going to send a bat over to that young fella, I believe. If he's still around somewhere, they'll give it to him. Well, that's a darn nice gesture on the part of the Tigers. They give the bat to Ernie Tyler, and Tyler, if he spots the young man, will make sure he gets that bat. There, I'll tell you, that's the right way to do things. Not bad. One out, and here's Ike Brown. Look out, Ike. Johnson's pitch got away from him. It was an off-speed breaking ball high. Now the young fella's coming back down here, and he'll get his bat. Ball low and outside. 2 balls and no strikes. And the young man picks up his bat and gets a great round of applause, and gives you a good feeling to see something like that happen in your ballpark, and I congratulate the Tigers for their consideration. It was very nice of them. So this youngster's got not only a ball, but a bat, too. And here's Dobson high and outside with the ball 3. It's nice to see those things happen. Strike is called, 3-1 now. And we now have a total attendance this year of 518,955. Swinging on a foul tip into the middle of catcher Esteban to fill the count, 3-2. Well, we've told you, or been trying to tell you, that baseball is fun here at Memorial Stadium, and you've just seen a little bit of the fun that we met. Check swing ball 4 is up high. Ike Brown started to go, but stopped the swing and is on with the base on ball. 1 out walk to Ike Brown. Number 3 in that department for Pat Dobson. Here comes Dick McAuliffe on a 1-for-4 night. Dobson's first offering to McAuliffe. Ground ball hit to the right side of Jerry DeVan, and the second baseman's got it. The second for 1 on to first. Hey, a double play. Boy, DeVan started that one in nifty fashion. Flipped it over to Belanger, and Belanger's ripping throw to Powell completed the double play. At the end of 7.5, Baltimore 14, Detroit 3. The Tigers are making quite a few changes. They are replacing Dean Chance with Bill Dennehy, and they're also making quite a few switches in their outfield. Dalton Jones, who had been in right field, moves over to left, and he replaces Willie Horton. Mickey Stanley remains in the ball game, and he goes to center. Northrup, who has been playing center field throughout the ball game, Northrup moves to right field. So now the outfield has Jones left, Stanley center, and Northrup in right field. Now a run of that scoreboard where the Red Sox lift Washington 6-2. The Sox had a 5-run second inning. The Boston winner was Jim Lonborg. The loser was Pete Wilberg, and a Red Sox home run by John Kennedy. At Milwaukee, the Brewers 4 and the Chicago White Sox 2. Brewers 4, the White Sox 2 was drawn against Slayton. And Milwaukee home runs tonight by Wiggins, Chicago home runs tonight by Wiggins and Melton. And by the way, Bill Melton, he's been kind of sneaking along, and you haven't been noticing too much that Melton's been hitting home runs, but he has. Melton now has 17 Chicago homers. In the American League this afternoon, the Yankees beat the Indians. The Yankees 9 and the Indians 2. National League this afternoon, the Cubs beat the Dodgers. Chicago 3, LA 2. Hands beat Mulder. In the National League tonight, the Mets 3, the Phillies nothing, and a fine 4-hit shutout by Tom Seaver. And Seaver's record now goes to 10-3. At St. Louis, Cards 8, Pirates 1. At Houston, Braves 5, and Houston 2. They're playing the 6th inning. All right, Bill, let's watch Dennehy now on the mound against Merv Rettenmund as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. and it's too low to Murs. And the big right-hander's 1-0 pitch coming to Rettenmund, swinging a ground ball over his head. The shortstop behind the bag at second doesn't get it, and Rettenmund has bounced a single to center field. And for Merv Rettenmund, that will be his second hit of the evening. He's walked 3 times and doubled. The batter now, Boog Powell. Boog at the moment hitting .212. And he had a pretty good rest tonight before being inserted in the ball game to replace Frank Robinson in the 7th inning. Bill gave you those many outfield changes for Detroit. And now Dennehy, the right-hander, fires. Powell takes the ball inside. We now have Dalton Jones in left, Mickey Stanley in center, and Jim Northrup in right field. Taylor at third, McAuliffe at shortstop, Ike Brown at second base, Norm Cash at first base, Gene Lamont catching, Bill Dennehy pitches a foul ball to up into the upper deck. A ball and a strike to Powell. (14-3). The Orioles over the Tigers. And the O's facing Dennehy in the bottom of the 8th inning. And the 1-1 pitch. Low to Boog Powell. Red Sox go, or rather the Tigers go home, and they will entertain the Red Sox tomorrow night. And again on Thursday night, before the Orioles get to town Friday. Certainly, we're going to bus over from Cleveland to Detroit. It's a very pleasant ride around the lake. 2-1 offering to Powell. Fly ball, well hit, deep center. Back to center fielder, and he cannot get to it across the wall. Rettenmund down to third base. Come on, here comes Rettenmund to the plate, and the throw coming. He is going to be safe at the plate, and on to third base goes Boog Powell. Oh, Powell creamed the line drive in the alley in left center, all the way to the wall, and Rettenmund scores. Run number 15, and for Powell, that is his 50th run batted in of the year. Boog gets a double, and he'll take third on the throw to the plate. And now here is Brooks Robinson. Here is Brooks Robinson with Powell at third, and a swing and a miss, strike one. Powell apparently takes third on an error charged to the catcher, Gene Lamont. The pitch, low and a ball. Rettenmund beat the throw, and the catcher was charged with an error, and Powell just moved on down to third base on that error. 1 ball and 1 strike. Dennehy. Into the move and his pitch, low and away. Ball 2, 2-1 now. Dennehy is the 5th single hurler in this ball game. Well, the Orioles now have come up with the highest output in both runs and hits this year. Swinging a high fly, shallow right. Back goes second baseman Ike Brown, calling for it, and he makes the one-handed catch, and Powell will hold at third base. Oriole RBI power now. Powell is holding with 50 runs batted in. Frank shows up with 48, and Brooks with 47. Pitch. Strike over the inside corner at the knees to Jerry DeVannen. Ball is inside of the right-handed swinger. 1 ball, 1 strike. DeVannen in his first at-bat in the ball game in the 7th inning, single to left field. One ball, 1 strike to the batter, Jerry DeVannen. Dennehy delivers. He's low, ball 2, 2-1. Well, the Orioles have really rocked the tee around this yard this afternoon this evening. 15 runs, 17 hits. Every now and then one of those games will jump up. It's a 2-1 pitch. Ground ball down the third base side. In front of it is Tony Taylor, and the throw out of first base in time. And that will be the second out of the inning, and we'll take a station break on that one. This is the Baltimore Oriole Baseball Network.
Galen Farm speaking. You're missing a lot if you're missing Bill Burton, the American outdoorsman. Weekends on Radio 11, WBAL Baltimore.
Here is Belanger looking at a ball one down low. Now the 1-0 pitch to Mark. High fly ball left field way. Dalton Jones is moving on the ball. And he makes the catch for the final out. The Orioles are running 2 hits with a man left. The end at 8, Orioles 15 and the Tigers 3.
Well, a reminder that the National Sires, that's the famous 4-horse team, will take part in the annual Essex Independence Day Parade. And the date of that parade is Sunday, the 4th of July. The parade will begin at 2 p.m., and it will be staged at the Middlesex Shopping Center. So we're sure you'll enjoy the parade and also the appearance of the National Sires. Okay, Chuck.
Well, Tony Taylor is going to lead off here in the top of the 9th inning. Right-handed swinger is Tony. And Dobson up on the mound waiting to go. Here's his move in the first pitch to Taylor. Ball high. And right back. Fly ball foul out of play in the upper deck. 1 ball and 1 strike. He had a chance to check on those RBIs we were talking about. Powell with 50, and Frank with 48, and Brooks also 48. Now the 1-1 pitch coming down to Taylor. Fly ball foul, upper deck, right field corner. 1 and 2 to Tony. One ball and 2 strikes. The count to the batter, Tony Taylor. Dobson delivers. High inside. 2 and 2. Dalton Jones is due behind Tony Taylor. And a 2-2 pitch. Dauber ready. Outside. Full count, 3 and 2. Fly ball, well hit right field. Back in the ball, Retman back on the warning track. Still backpedaling, he's there. And Retman pulls it in. Taylor hit a shot deep into right field. Retman got a good jump on the ball and backpedaled across the warning track to rake it in. 1 gone now, and here is Dalton Jones. And Dalton is 0 for 3 tonight. Left-handed swinger, and Dobson's first pitch on the way. Low, ball 1. I look downstairs right now and I see that young man who's got the bat, and he's just about as happy as any baseball fan could be. Ground ball hit right back through the middle into center field for a base hit. Jones singles here in the Tiger 9th inning. Hit number 10 on the board for Detroit. And coming to the plate right now is Bill Freehan. Batting for pitcher Bill Dennehy. Bill Freehan. He's 1 for 5 in this series, and here's a towering foul pop behind the plate. It's going to be on the screen and out of reach, however. Strike 1 to Freehan. Eddie Watt is throwing in the Oriole bullpen. Here's the 1-strike offering to Freehan. Jones at first and 1 away. Dobson throws. Ground ball off the third base side in the hole. Base hit to left field. Down to second goes Jones. Freehan delivers with a ground single to left field. Cincinnati pounded out a 14-0 win over Montreal, Bill. 23 Cincinnati base hits. And the batter now, Norm Cash. Runners at first and second base, 1 out. 15-3, Baltimore over the Tigers, and Dobson trying to stop him here in the ninth. Foul ball headed toward the upper deck and out of play. Strike one. The one strike pitch coming down to Cash. Curve, it's missed. 1 ball and 1 strike. I think the Orioles are scoring runs tonight. How much a Cincinnati base hit? 23 of them. Now the 1-1 pitch to Cash. Outside high, 2-1. Dobson ready with a 2-1 to Cash. Here it is. Fly ball foul, right field side in the upper deck. 2-2 to Norman. Now the 2-2 pitch to Norman Cash. Dobson kicks and fires, curving, ground foul off the first base side, and the count holds 2-2. And the 2-2 pitch on the way to Norm Cash. Here it is. Swing and a miss. He struck him out on a beautiful change. 7 strikeouts now for Pat Dobson. And here comes Jim Northrup with 2 down in the top of the ninth, and Tiger runners at first and second. Northrup is grounded to second, line to left, homered, and walked. The first offering to Northrup, high, ball 1. Fastball from Pat Dobson. Still throwing hard here in the ninth inning. And it's gotten a little cooler. Not really cool, but, not quite as warm as it was. And I'm sure that's helped Dobson through the late innings. 1 ball, no strikes to Northrup. Here's a fly ball, well hit deep in the left field corner, and it is going to be a home run for Northrup. It just got into the seats in the left field corner. And Dalton Jones is in with run number 4. Here comes Freehand with run number 5. And Northrup with run number 6. And that's his 4th home run against the Orioles this year. He has 7 home runs and 4 of them against the Orioles. And he's knocked in 4 of the Tigers' 6 runs. Here is Gene Lamont. 2 down, and it's now a 15-6 ball game. A swing and a foul ball in the dirt behind the plate. Strike 1. Here's a ground ball hit towards second baseman Jerry DeVannon. He's got it to throw to first. This one is over. That's it. Orioles win it 15-6, and we'll be back with a brief recap for you right after this message.